Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dan Rather. I'm joined by Miniature Mouse.
Hi there.
And we have a very special episode today.
We do.
I've been teasing that this was coming out, but it was the 20-year anniversary of the release of Without a Paddle on August 20th. I had hoped we could time it perfectly, but Matthew was in Toronto filming the sequel to a very successful movie.
He's a busy
in which he
boy.
Plays Voldemort.
Which you'll hear about in the fact check.
Yes, which is not, maybe he doesn't play Voldemort. But yes, so Seth Green, we love Seth Green, Matthew Lillard, myself, and we got to just go down memory lane for 2 hours, and it was so fun. And also, I'm going to add, to further confuse everybody, this is a Monday episode.
Yeah.
And it's video. And
I know.
That's not how we're going to do it. But I thought if ever there was one that would be fun to have on video, this would be the one. And why not? It's also our first episode of the new deal. Yeah. Welcome to our new deal.
Welcome to Wondery.
Welcome to our new deal. Hello. It's Bob. So yeah, please enjoy Seth Green and Matthew Lillard.
Without a Paddle reunion.
WAP reunion.
Uh-oh.
WAP.
Uh-oh.
There it is.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Yeah,
People
are complicated, guys. Real hard to be a people.
It is so hard to be a people.
And then
It's hard to people.
It's hard to people, and then especially over distance. Like it's one of the things that I love about both you guys, and I'd like to say I saw it coming, was that we're all like, this is what we do. It's a career. It's not just like I got to make this movie. It's like this is what we're doing.
Well,
Yeah.
I like being included in that, but in reality, especially for this movie, that was true for you guys.
Yeah.
You guys were like a decade into acting professionally.
Yeah, but it was
20 years into acting professionally.
That specific movie, I really realized as it was happening that it was such a significant moment for each of us, that it was going to be incredibly important for each of us for it to work, for it to...
Yeah, I was mostly just scared. But what I was
Scared?
That's what he was internalizing.
What we tell ourselves past an experience is so powerful. Because I saw a dude who was explosive, funny, charming, all the time taking risks, like zero fear.
As my coping mechanism of, oh my God, I don't belong here. I'm not certain what I'm supposed to do. And they're all looking over there. I guess when we switch to that camera, we all move this way. And like a little panicked inside that I'll be exposed as not deserving to be there.
Sure. Well,
and a chip on my shoulder about coming from punk. Like I just, and having, loved both of you and wanting you guys to think I deserve to be there. It was complicated.
It was a complicated moment for you.
And then I think I'm like overly...
charming.
No, but you're proving yourself.
But like fearless. I'm completely fearless because here's what I can do. I'm afraid about the acting, but I can jump off the waterfall. Like, please, Brill, let me do that. That'll prove I'm really
worthy.
in. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It is funny what we tell ourselves versus what anyone else is even thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were so there on purpose, and I, who had already met you at Groundlings, and then I got punked by you.
Ish.
Do you want to walk through the scenario, what you guys did to him?
Yes. Punked.
Right, which I didn't know existed. I had spent like years hanging out with the cast of the 70s show because Wilmer and I had done Party Monster together, and I just knew all those kids through the business. It was just a thing. We'd all go hang out at the taping of the 70s show, and then sometimes go out for drinks afterwards because it was a very pre-cell phone camera time. Like it was an entirely different place, like where you could actually just go out as a gang of highly recognizable people. And so Wilmer's like, oh, hey, you should come to, I'm doing a charity. You have it. Just come after the taping. It's going to be great. And I was like, I don't know, I'm tired. And he was like, no, do it. And so I go, and it was at the St. James Hotel. or the Hollywood Tower.
Yeah, I think
whatever
the
it was,
Hollywood
Sunset Tower.
Sunset Tower, yeah.
Sunset Tower, and I had just been in this room 6 days prior for a table read. Like there was an organized table read, and so I had been in this exact same room where all of the lights are incredibly bright, and I was like, oh, they remodeled this room. Because a bunch of mirrored extensions were built in front of
Yeah, a lot of mirrors now.
Closets.
Like, wow, they redid this place, and they were like, let's put a ton of mirrors in here.
Well, I just didn't think about it. You would never imagine that there's like a hidden camera. All the lights were on. There's no music playing. And they're like, do you want a drink? And I was like, I'll get a drink, but this is a terrible party. I have to tell you, this party it sucks. And I started walking around. I was like, maybe we dim the lights, right?
This says a lot about you, and I think it's lovely, which is like you got into this situation, and there's a ton of other actors there, and everyone's acting like they're gambling and stuff. And he is immediately like, I don't like the lighting. I'm changing the lighting in this room. And everyone in the camera department is like, oh my God, shit, we can't. Everyone's like, go up to F4, like they're changing exposures and everything. And he has no problem walking into a party that's not his party and completely changing the lighting because it didn't suit him.
Maybe
and I was
you don't know how to
that's
throw a
not a
party.
people pleaser, and I'm jealous of it. It's an enviable quality.
Oh, that's funny. But it really felt like,
You were going to make it right for
We
everyone.
wanted to make
You're
it
gonna
better.
help.
Yes.
Dimming the lights,
I was like,
people would have more fun.
You guys trying to raise money at this
You're right.
fucking thing? Like, you're not going to raise any money if nobody's enjoying themselves.
Everyone looks
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm here for the charity.
And then Al, the guy from 106 in Park, right?
From Hits from the Street.
Hits from the Street.
BET. Al Shear.
So Al, who I could have sworn, he looked familiar enough that I wasn't scared of him, takes me outside and tells me that the whole play, no, we're all going to give each other COVID. He takes me outside and says, hey man, I want to be cool. I like your movies. And I was like, okay. And my kid really likes you. And I was like, oh, all right. And he says, listen, I'm a cop and I'm undercover. Been undercover for weeks.
Oh my God.
Breaking up this underground gambling ring. And I was just like, what are you talking about? And he goes, yeah. So whose game is this? Whose game? And I go, I literally don't know what you're talking about. My friend invited me to a charity thing. Is this?
I'm planning on giving $500.
Yeah, I
Is
wasn't
that a good
even-
amount? No.
Oh, I wasn't even trying to get in on it. Oh, that was the other thing. Kutch comes over to me, and I auditioned for Dude, Where's My Car with him. So I'm like, it's hard to explain. I don't know how to. I think because I was so young in this business, and I've seen all the other young people come into it, that I have a real soft spot for actors trying to do it. I had a lot of nice people say, hey, you're totally fucking this up. buddy, don't ever do that again. And you're just like, oh, thank you. I actually appreciate that. Thank you. So I like being able to give, hey, heads up. You've probably never been here before, but I've been here, and you got to watch that step.
Yeah. That's
Just that
really
little-
kind.
Sure,
You know what
sure,
I mean?
sure.
I've always had
Letting
people offer
folks know
that.
where the potholes are, as we would say in rap.
As we would say.
Yeah. When I'm repeating lyrics from Jay-Z.
Okay.
Potholes on my loan.
But Al tells you.
Kutch, I've like known him for.
Hold on, I'm gonna make my first joke
Yeah,
to
let's
Matt
hear it.
about Seth. So this is gonna be the 21st anniversary of the episode of Punk'd.
Oh, it is.
No.
Oh yeah, I don't need to. You said give us
I'm
context.
literally like, Monica's gonna ask me to cut. You are deep, bro. You are deep.
I guess that's true, but you did ask me this question.
You did.
But what I
Last
love is
question. That was
we're
last
already in the dynamic that we had the whole movie.
hilarious.
21 years is going by, and we're like already in the exact dynamic.
That is funny. I
which
should have brought a
love.
backgammon kit.
Start with Radio Days.
What? So stupid. How
That was
soon
his
to-
first movie. Was that your first movie?
That was like my 7th movie.
How old were you?
I was 12.
12. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Long story short, this guy tells you where there's going to be a raid, and then all of a sudden there's guys flying through the
Yeah,
windows.
somebody literally somersaulted through the window, and I was like, this is so excessive, guys. Oh my God. So I immediately see that none of these cops have guns. And I was like, okay, well, this is they're gonna be chill. This
Well,
is
it's the gambling squad.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, this isn't an anyway.
You weren't nervous at all?
Yeah, I was nervous, but I've also been in handcuffs a lot prior to this moment and been questioned about
Did you
this.
say a lot?
I mean,
Did
at
you say
least a
lot?
couple of times.
No, you don't. You
No.
don't strike me as that.
I was a bad kid.
You
Seth
were?
had the funnest history of he wore trench coats. He had he kept size. What are they called? Size swords.
Well, I never had size, but I got into throwing knives.
Throwing
I
knives.
did buy a pair of size. Well, because the second I found out
got
that
it,
ninjas
too.
were a thing, I was like, well, I want to be a ninja. Like,
Sure.
it was really simple.
Duh,
Naturally.
that's an option.
Yeah, well, I got, picked on, as you can imagine. I didn't have I was not a popular kid. I had a tremendous amount of energy. I was hilarious looking. I wore all of my sister's clothes because we didn't have money.
Oh wow.
And then I had a mom who was eccentric and bought me Norwegian shoes. And then I had to wear that shit to school in Philadelphia.
Like wooden shoes?
Yeah, straight up wooden clogs. There was at least 3 years that my sister and I rolled in no socks in clogs, guys.
Oh, my
Like if you
Lord.
want to get your ass kicked in the same neighborhoods that Will Smith got his ass kicked, I didn't even play basketball. It was really bad.
Did you fight?
I've been in a couple of fights. I
Like,
mostly
threw
just
punches or got punched?
Yeah, I mean, I threw
You
punches.
swung back.
You
I
participated.
flailed. Yeah, I flailed meaninglessly in the face of some serious aggression. But I also I was also crazy. I jumped. This one kid who'd been tormenting me. We were coming down the stairs at one point. He was just 4 stairs ahead of me. I just fucking leapt off the stairs, wrapped my hands around his neck, and started punching him in the face. We both fell
Oh,
to the
wow.
polished concrete floor. 4 more stairs below.
Oh.
Why did I do that? I don't know.
You snap. Well, that's a bit of the red hair.
Yeah, probably.
There's you always got the X factor. Really quick, 1 second story. So Monica and I are talking, and I was explaining to her that I, growing up, saw on 5 different occasions redheads get in fights at my school, and they were, in most cases, they were kind of outmatched size wise. And that they started crying right before the fight, and I saw a strength and a veracity I've never seen anywhere else other than the redheads, and they always won. And she goes, I find it very hard to believe that every redhead you saw get in a fight, they started crying first and then won. And I said, let's call Aaron Weekly. So we call my best friend, and Monica goes, Aaron, what? How did you phrase it?
Something
Tim?
like
What happens when redheads fight? And he
Yeah.
goes, oh. Well, first of all, they start crying, and then they beat the shit out of whoever they're fighting. It was the exact same answer.
That's hilarious.
Anywho, the point is we knew each other from Punk'd. I think that's the point.
Yeah,
But who got in the movie first? Who got it? You were in Without a Paddle first?
I was.
You
Because
were.
I had just made the Italian Job with Donald DeLine for Paramount. And
Great movie, by the way.
Great
It was the
movie.
it was the
Love that
only
movie.
time in my entire career that the head of a studio was like, "We want to be in the Seth Green business." And I was like, "Thanks, Sherry Lansing. What do you have for me?"
Yeah.
And Donald was like, "We have this comedy, and this character is written as a fat guy, but maybe he's a short guy." And I was like, "Fucking let's read it."
That's a great time for us to introduce, and this will reign as an excuse about some of the jokes in the film.
Yes.
It's indicative of the period. This is 2003, and to make a comedy,
Sure.
you're going to have a short guy or a fat
I did
guy.
rewatch. Well, it's more the archetype that you can fill to make a very specific type of physical joke over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's not really whoever's playing whatever the archetypical role is has assumed the burden of carrying out all the physical gags possible on behalf of their body type. That John Cleese talks about that endlessly. You know what you're there to do.
Right.
And you're going to shamelessly do it in a way that lets the audience feel the thing that you need them to feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just was a different time. I don't
for
think
sure.
the executives right now are like, hey, we're having a hard time finding a fatso or a little person.
little person.
That conversation is not
There you go.
happening today.
No.
Is it a
You
little
know,
bit?
legally, I
No,
don't
but-
fit the criteria for little person, but I'll choke that down, Dax.
I watched it this morning. I have never
You
seen
did?
it.
Oh my God.
You've never
you,
seen
oh,
it?
my- and you're
That's
still,
I'm very curious how it reads to someone
Well,
who
it's
never
like,
saw it.
just real quick.
Yeah.
3 takeaways.
First and major takeaway is it's so fun and nostalgic. That type of movie is gone.
Gone.
And I really was like, oh yeah, I get why everyone loves this and feels so connected to it.
Great.
Uh-oh.
No,
I had warned you about
Dude.
it though.
You'd warned me about some things that would
What are
trigger
you warning?
me.
I do an Indian accent in the movie. Again, I would not
you
do
do.
that
Oh my God,
now.
of course
This is
you
like
do.
setting up the 2005. Like,
Yeah,
I'm just like, I see that in the script. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. And then, of course, like Monica and I are becoming really good friends and we're talking about that accent. And I'm really understanding like how the only fucking example if you're Indian and you're a kid was Apu. And I'm like, oh my God, Monica, I have done the fucking accent and I feel terrible. So I was like, just don't ever see that movie. That's just best. You don't ever see that
But
movie.
that's not why I didn't. I just wasn't on my radar. It felt like a boy movie.
You weren't a
It is.
12-year-old boy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
All right, 2.
okay, 2 is you're the exact same person.
Really?
I can't believe it. I could not believe when you're like on your motorcycle and the jokes you're making, and even when you're singing in the car, I was like, wow.
He has not changed.
In a good way. It was
No,
like,
you've
oh,
stayed very
you've
true.
always been that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
sweet.
I liked it. I liked it.
Oh.
And
You
then-
don't agree with that? Do you
No.
think you've changed?
You've just seen so much actual internal evolution. You've
Well, for
witnessed
sure
your
about that.
own expansion
Yeah,
in ways that the you in that movie wouldn't have actually imagined possible. And yet,
And I'm making some
here
choices
you
in
are.
that movie. Like, look, I'm watching it too. I watched it last
Yeah.
night with the girls. And like many scenes, my body's so tight, you guys. I'm like watching it, I'm like, oh my God, that was your, like, you know,
You're so-
I was new and I was pretty stiff sometimes. I just grew as an actor over time. I was watching it and I was also thinking like, oh my God, I was like so tiny.
You were tiny. Well, not
Tiny guy.
Tiny. I actually was like, he looks so tall. And I think you're not gonna like this, but I think the bigger your body is, the
smaller.
shorter you
Okay.
you appear.
All right.
This is
Yeah,
a
that's
good
why
move.
I've stayed
Wait,
off
what's your third
the
takeaway?
bench. You know,
What's your
that's why I
third-
never get real deep into the bench
That's exactly
work.
what's preventing me from going to
That's what's
212.
kept, you know, because otherwise I'd be Wolverine, guys.
Wait, what's your third takeaway?
And then my third takeaway is just the relationship, like the three, and I know just from hearing Dax, like it's very special. He reflects on that time as being so special.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like I watched it and I was like, oh man, they all are like firing on all cylinders. The chemistry's so good. It looks like such a fun time.
We
was
love, like,
such
I
a
speak
super
for
summer
me.
camp.
I loved these guys so
I know.
much right away, and they were so kind. And it could have been competitive, and it wasn't. And it was
Yeah.
very mentoring and kind and helpful. And
It reads,
you
it
were-
translates.
and we
were
got to
both,
do-
You were so funny. We were both like, how do I steal his jokes? Like right away. Like, oh my God.
Oh no! In fact, I think I stole a joke of yours. And in the makeup chair, you're like, "Don't you ever
Oh, no.
fucking do that again?" And I was like, bro, and it was like, I think it was like, I think I made a joke not on
No,
set.
it was
even.
on
like,
camera. It was
in-
coming through the thing. We had all done.
I don't remember.
I remember
I
this so specifically because we were all throwing out like some kind of one-liner coming into a scene. We're all entering a scene.
I have not thought of this,
And here's
by the
what's
way,
so
in
funny.
20 years.
thank
Oh my
you.
God.
I'm glad because
I
I feel
swear to God,
I haven't
now
thought
I
about it.
fucking remember.
I haven't thought about it, but I remember each one of these experiences because they were so seminal in all of our experience together. Like I'd been working for as long as I had been working. I knew.
Wait, go tell. what
Yeah.
happened?
So we're all walking in the door. Each one of us starts to say a line, and then we do a second take, and we each come through and like add an improv line, and then the third take through, you said one of the things that
I'm
he
onto
had-
my third improv, and then you grabbed my first improv.
something
That's
like
what
that.
happened.
Oh
Yeah,
my
something
God.
like that. We all picked up. We were just like picking up each other's shit because it felt very. Like
Communal.
who cares? We're just
Yeah.
doing it.
Really, the improv line was like a child,
Oh,
and it
you
was like
cannot
I had.
steal it.
It was like I had taken his daughter and been like, "The fuck?"
Well, but it's because of where you came from.
Right. So first
Yes.
of all, absolutely, it was not a big deal, and you should
I
have.
don't-
And let's make
No,
the
I
movie
don't
better.
think. Yes, your line was better than anything I was ever gonna come up with.
But now, of course, I'm embarrassed by that because again, all I had done punked before that. It was
Right.
just me. I'm out there improving these things, and then prior to that was the Groundlings, and in the Groundlings, and that was the conversation we had in the makeup trailer. And I hate that you remember, but I do because I really regret it. But I remember trying to get into it in this way of like, Did you come? You didn't really do like a comedy background, huh, Matt? Like, were you in any like sketch? And I'm basically saying
Trying
like,
to lure me
I'm like,
in?
what I'm saying is, I'm
trying
trying
to
to lay out
flex
like
on his
you would
education.
never do that at the Groundlings. Like you would never improv someone and someone would take it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was like triggered and scared that I sucked in the movie and all this, and how embarrassing. And I'm sorry. and yes, we should all just take whatever comes up and make the movie great. But I was like, yeah, I was a little.
Well,
I can't believe you
don't
remember that. Oh, it's embarrassing.
Well,
so
we all learn and grow, even though you were
I-
the same.
You know what's funny is that there was a. Can I just talk about the body dysmorphia that was happening?
The
my
body
God.
dysmorphia.
Body
Body-
dysmorphia.
Oh.
You and I, for the record, were so freaked out about taking our shirt off and being present in our own bodies
Yes.
that the fear that was a part of that movie from beginning to end was like palpable. I mean, it was defining.
And you and I both had it.
Oh, 100%.
And we were obsessed with the fact that
100%.
Seth just looked like a fucking gymnast. And he wasn't at the gym. And you and I were like,
like we were
I
working
just-
out. We were
but I did-
working
I
out in
did
between
push-ups
takes.
and sit-ups
I was
every day.
not eating. We were not. I wasn't eating. I was like in my underwear the whole time, going, "Look at this! I'm so fat."
Yes.
And I look back now.
and you look
on my
fucking
life.
great.
Yeah,
And
you look
I'm like,
amazing.
But I think this is really relevant. I think that every time we look back, we're so ensconced in this fear
Yes.
of that moment. And the reality is like, oh, you were so beautiful.
I know.
And it was you were
It's
so lovely.
tragic.
For those people at home, like, dude, let it go. It does not serve you at all.
I know.
And I hate that. There's I teach acting a lot, and this woman, I brought this woman in to talk about the woman's perspective on the journey, and she told this great story about how, you know, when she was younger, she had this white bathing suit, and she wanted to wear it in the movie, but she was terrified to put on this two-piece white bathing suit. And at the end of the day, she looks at these pictures of her like 10 years later. She goes, I was gorgeous.
Yeah.
I was so beautiful. And the story I was telling myself at that time in my life was so destructive.
It's impervious to anything. It's you're just
Yeah.
trapped in it, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You can't break out of it.
And there's no amount of like accolades or work. You know, it's
Yeah.
just that mindset. But there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to. There's got in the moment
To tell
now.
yourself.
Yeah, to tell yourself this isn't the truth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad you
found,
brought that up because yes, we were. You and I, and we talked about it. And I was like, "Fuck that whole sequence is like 5 days
Yeah.
away."
And
my
like
God.
working up. To
Like we were like
'cause we were, like-
pageant contestants.
Yes, it was
when the swimsuit section was coming up.
There's like it was like 15 days in our underwear. Do you remember we went to Italian restaurant?
I was just gonna say
celebration.
Yeah, with the line. What was the name
yeah.
of that great
It was
place?
so
I do.
good.
Olive
You
Garden.
say it like a hearty.
Yes, it was Olive Garden. And
Yeah.
Seth, do you remember? I know you're not wanting to take the compliments, but you look like a gymnast. So Matt and I
But I
would
was
be
also
doing our
doing
push-ups.
like push-ups and sit-ups every
You
day.
joined in
Out of
because
fellowship.
you were kind
Out
of
of
like
fellowship. Yeah.
And we were even like, look, this asshole doesn't need to do
Such
any
a
fucking
dick.
push-ups. He doesn't need to do a
Tidy
sit-up.
whities.
Oh, he
It's
looks
like-
great.
like-
He's got good ass cheeks.
Yes. Like
Squat-
Mark
you gotta do
Wahlberg
squats,
had to look
guys.
out because your shit was so legit.
Mark never had to.
You are pound for pound the most beautiful man in Hollywood. I've said it a million
I was
times.
gonna
Oh,
continue
you
to
guys
say it.
have-
Pound
it.
for pound the most beautiful man in Hollywood.
Have you seen Kevin Hart?
Oh man, he looks fantastic.
He's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, he survived breaking his back because he's in such good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were in the movie first.
Yes.
I'm bringing him back to a semi-chronological
Yes.
timeline.
Yeah.
You were in the movie first, and then you were in before me. But how did you get in the movie? Because you guys were really hot. I know that sounds embarrassing, but you guys both, like, you were just in the Italian Job, and you were just in Scooby-Doo, which was an enormous hit.
The
So it's like-
studio loved him. The
Yeah.
only question was whether or not he is this leading man. The guy
Yeah.
who kisses the girl, the guy who proposes to the
I
girl.
tried to talk myself out of that film like 3 times.
you did.
Yeah.
I did.
Well, out of,
Because I sat down with DeLine and I read it. And I'm like, I don't love it, and that could be also my own fear about being, you know, that guy. I was like, I'm not that guy. I don't love it. And there was a whole section in the middle with the women and the trees, and I'm like, that's so stupid. It doesn't work. And I sat down with Brill and DeLine, and I'm like, I just think the comedy's off in some places. And I
You were
tried
the
to
only one with integrity.
articulate that there are 2 different like forms of comedy in here.
Yeah.
Right? There's this big, bold ridiculousness, and then there's this really fellowship driven,
Heartfelt,
relationship, heartfelt,
subtle.
like on a journey to find your best friend is
Grounded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really high stakes.
Our friend
running
died.
for your life, really high stakes. And like girls in a tree with long hair on their legs. It's two different movies. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. So anyway,
These are valid notes.
Yeah, it's all
yeah,
valid.
and at the end of the day, they came through with an offer, and I was like, regret what you did, not what you didn't do. And they were like, we have this guy Dax Shepard. Seth Green's in. I love Seth Green at that
Yeah.
point.
We had just got to work on Scooby. We had just finally worked together
No, that
on
was
Scooby.
That was Scooby 1.
No,
so
Scooby
we
2.
hadn't really.
Scooby 2. So this is the reason that I remember. I
Is that
loved
right?
Matt. Loved Matt for so long. He's one of my favorite actors.
Scream.
And
If you didn't fall in love with Lillard on
yeah.
Scream, your eyes weren't open.
Well, I saw him in SLC Punk, and I was like, "Oh
He had to
shit,
go
this is
deeper
just a
cut.
different." Well, because like the things that you see him in, it's like his studio stuff, and then you see the stuff that he's like, "This is my heart, and I'd put this on film so that you can do what you want with it." That's the shit that impressed me. And so we got to do that scene together. I was so happy. That's where I met Gunn too. Like it was an incredible
Yeah.
experience. And so at that point, they were like, "We're thinking about maybe it's Matt Lillard," and I was like.
Say no more.
I was like, if this is me and Matt Lillard and Dax Shepard, this is a hit. The movie will work.
Listen.
How did you get wooed?
I ended up getting the offer, and I said yes. And we went to lunch. I think the three of us went to lunch to meet each other, right? To sort of sit down. Didn't we have like a chemistry sit down, or
I
dinner
just
or
don't
lunch?
remember. I don't
don't
remember
remember
that part.
either.
I really remember getting to New Zealand.
We definitely all sat down to sit down to see if we all got along. Did you audition?
So not only did I audition, and this is where I'll say Seth and Brill. Brill wanted me, which was awesome. He just believed.
Why
that
did he want you?
because
you're so
he,
funny.
He liked Punked. Like he
Right.
thought I was doing something really cool on Punked. And then we met. Then I went and read, and I was not good. Like reading the script, I was not very good. And Seth had been brought in to read with me, and Brill was like, "Forget the script.
Oh wow.
You guys just improv scenes." Because he knew I could improv.
Yeah.
And then when I was improving, I was very relaxed and calm.
Okay.
And thank God Seth's a great improver. So we just basically improv 3 scenes that they sent to Sherry Lansing, president of the studio, to get me in that movie. But would not have got it by reading Tom's sides, you know. And so really, you and Brill are the reason.
And look, we all got put in a situation to win, and we did this little movie. To Monka's point, they don't make anymore.
Yeah,
Like nobody's making a $20 million buddy
Yeah.
comedy.
I looked it up, 19.
Is that what
I
it
think it was
was?
made for 19 in another country.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Okay, so we all get the movie. We're all in the movie. We land in New Zealand, and what I'm
Do you remember?
I
I flew
remember
with
so
you.
many things.
there
I'm
was some
sure it's
sporting
where it's
event
going.
that was really important for everyone
Yeah,
to
the
see.
All Blacks were playing the like best of.
Yeah,
the
that was in
football.
the middle
Yeah,
of shooting.
it was.
That was in the middle of shooting.
Yeah, I think when we got there was more like a World Cup thing. So we get down there, and what's really cool, and again, doesn't ever happen. In fact, that's the only time this ever happens. We were there like 3 weeks early to learn to do all this river work in canoes.
Right.
And what an awesome way to like bond in a hurry.
Yeah.
Because we were not good at it. And we were going through things that canoes don't go through. And they had hired
It's
this
so
amazing dude,
legitimately
Augie.
dangerous.
Augie.
Okay, hey man.
Yeah.
And he was Fijian.
Yes.
He had just won a gold medal in fucking rowing in the previous Olympics. And he was such a stud. And we all were like trying our
He's the
hardest to
best.
impress
He
Augie.
was so cool too, so cool, and he was like, "Oh, you guys are gonna get this." And we were like, "Okay."
Confident.
He did say at one point, he's like, no matter what happens on the river, if you're in trouble, you have to get yourself out because nobody's coming to save you. And I was like, that scared the shit out of me for the next 3 weeks. Because remember, the first day we got into the Canadian canoe.
In that whirlpool.
We got into a little, it was like a little waterfall, right?
Yeah.
But at the bottom of it was this
Churning.
churning thing. And there's 3 grown men trying to get out of the water, like up to like our waist.
Oh, it's so
with a
intense.
canoe trying to get it out, and us keep falling back into
Oh
the.
my
I was like,
God.
that was not a great introduction.
So stupid.
Again, because it was my first movie, I did not know this is. I thought this is how it went. It was
Yeah.
standard.
Yeah.
We did all these things that, let's just say, I haven't since gotten to do. We're jumping off waterfalls. We're going through a class 5, or we're not going through in the canoe, but we're jumping into the class 5. And I was operating under this very weird thought of like, I felt like I was at an amusement park. Like, well, this is safe. You're on a movie. They've got this all figured out. If they're letting me do this, everything's cool. And let's just cut right to like the craziest moment probably on it. Also, the water was, they told us, oh, it's summer in New Zealand, you're good. The water was never
So
above
cold.
50 degrees.
Oh.
We were
So cold.
freezing the whole movie.
We had no body fat. We had zero body fat.
No carbs, we were cranky. There's one scene in particular, which is, and we arrive and we learn of this, and I have to be delicate how I say this, but one of the stunt guys the day before was shooting the canoe going through this class 5 with all these, 8-foot drops and stuff. And this was an Olympic rower.
Yeah.
And
Kayaker.
he came out and he cracked his head open really, really bad and was
Destroyed his
airlifted.
face, broke
Oh
his
my
ribs,
God.
shattered his shoulder. Like they had to airlift him out. Like because it was my stunt guy, and the idea was just to
We hadn't
little
even
more detail,
started.
They would 5 times a day they would open a dam, and tens of millions of gallons would come rushing down the Waireki.
Yeah.
And they would then in this big, like this huge wash
Surge.
of water, they would put 3 kayakers in this so that they can get a shot of people kayaking in a class 5 rapid, which we were supposed to be doing, with no helmets
Yeah.
and very little safety. And this is before like you just take things out with a computer.
Yeah.
And he did it 3 times, and on the 3rd time he got absolutely obliterated.
He got obliterated and airlifted out of there. And
Yeah.
then the following day, we're there, and we're not going to try to ride a canoe through, but where the canoe has tipped in the movie, now they need footage of us going through that same section. So we're just jumping off of a rock into this thing, and they're going to film us. And you're not acting; you're just like trying not to die.
Survive.
Well, I did try to make like hilarious faces each time.
Might
'Cause I was
might explain what happens next, which is.
This is crazy.
We're already a little nervous. That was the day where I was like, "Oh, if the stunt guy is getting airlifted,
Yeah.
maybe maybe I need to watch out for myself." So we all jump in, and then Matt and I get to the side of the river, and Seth's gone. There's no fucking Seth.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know how many seconds it really was, but it felt like 30 seconds of like, where the fuck's Seth? Where's Seth? Where's Seth? Where's Seth? Guys on jet skis are starting to rip around because there's jet ski safety, and like I'm panicked. Like what? Because I know what just happened to the stunt guy, and Seth is gone. He is not visible.
Yeah.
He came up like 300 yards
Yeah.
down the river.
Well, they had said to me, "Hey, listen, worst comes to worst, you just ride the river." And they're like, worst comes to worst, you're like,
They're like, it'll
Don't
spit you out.
fight it.
yeah, they're gonna go with the flow. We got a net down here. We got a
safety
guy
line.
all the way down here, and then we got a guy with the binoculars at the end of the river.
Oh my
So they're
gosh.
like, "Look, we're gonna get you, and if worst comes to worst, then you can't
We'll just
get
claim
off."
your body. We will eventually find you.
You'll have a
Yeah.
proper funeral.
Yeah.
We promise that.
We will bring you back to the United States.
We're gonna figure out how to sell your stuff.
But you
Yeah.
submerged and went under the safety line.
I did, yeah.
kept
The first,
going,
the first safety line, but then the second guys they got me like, "Oh, stand here, guys. We got him."
But he was, Monica, he was
Scary.
very, very far away.
It was really funny.
But within that, we also had the greatest accomplishment that I have like not ever felt in my life, but we had this moment where we had this like little class 3 wave, right? We had this
That we had trained
that we had tried multiple times
for 3 weeks straight.
For 3 weeks, we'd put. I was in the front, Dax was in the back because he was steering, and Seth would be in the middle, and we'd get in this on
Just
this
keeping balance.
river.
Sure. Very
primarily.
important role.
And you would hit
Yeah.
this class 3 like little wave, right? And you would have to. A whole thing is like you want to get through the wave, and at the other side be on this Canadian flat bottom canoe. And every
It sank
time,
every time. We either
Yeah.
fell over or it filled with so much water. By the time we get through, we'd be our shoulders would be above water. We'd be trying like hoping it would.
Yeah.
And the only time it worked was when we were shooting it.
yeah, yeah.
It
And
looks
we did. You're
incredible in the
right.
movie.
That
It
was a moment.
unbelievable.
Wow.
I have to thank Jonathan Brown for making us all look like superheroes. Like
Yeah,
the
he was
DP
our-
that shot that film
Did
really
they ask
made.
you guys, like, are you guys very, very proficient swimmers?
No.
Because, like, I would be fully dead immediately.
Yeah,
There's
you could
no-
always say no. I've definitely worked on projects where the actors are like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Well, and what's
But
really
it was
funny,
necessary.
there was a
Yeah.
really hysterical moment with Burt Reynolds. So he arrived, which was incredible. We were all so excited. And at that point, there
No,
was...
that's not true.
Okay.
You were as excited as any child about to meet Santa Claus. I have never seen anyone adore a man from afar more than you adored Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, I brought posters with me.
Oh, that's
And he
so
signed
cute.
every one of
It
them.
was-
He not only did he
It's
sign all of them, he got some that I couldn't get my hands on for me and left them in my trailer before he
the
left.
He would literally
He's just the absolute
preemptively,
best.
without you
Yeah.
asking,
Yeah.
would leave DVDs for you.
And
Yeah.
do you
I'm
guys
like,
remember he
what
was
is
in love
this?
with Brie at all?
Of course.
Because
course.
Brie got several too. She hadn't asked for any, but they
Brie,
all.
your
they-
ex-girlfriend.
My ex-girlfriend Brie.
No, the cheese. Bert's like a crazy cheese fan.
Yeah,
it's
he
what,
loves
it's
it.
what killed him in the end.
But all of the, he gave
Too
her.
soon.
He gave her. Here's the two photos Bert gave her. One was with him bare naked on a horse holding a dog
Stop
over his
this.
private parts.
What are you talking
And then
about?
the famous rug one.
Of course.
Naked on a rug. These are the ones for Brie.
Why
and
does he have a
each of them,
dog on a horse? Like there's so many.
he rescued it clearly, Seth. It was probably injured. And it
fair.
said, like, beautiful Brie. This is when I was young and cute like Dax.
Oh, you loved it.
It was
Oh my
it was
God.
one for both of us,
Yeah,
really.
that's
But
for
he
you.
showed up. Tell the story of him showing up.
Well, just I had been begging our director Brill to let us jump off the 100-foot waterfall. We did jump off like a 25, 30-foot one with the four-wheeler gag. Remember that? We jumped off that.
Yeah, I had zero interest in jumping off this 100-foot waterfall. It should be said.
But I was really driving Brill nuts at this point. I had been asking. He's like, they're professionals. I'm like, you think there's someone who's professional at falling through the air? Like, what do you like, this is a racket you're proposing to me that you can be better or worse at falling through the air.
It's really how you land more than
How you
anything.
land. So I was driving him nuts. Bert got there, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to use Bert to help me convince Brill that I should do it. And I tell Bert, like, listen, they got this stunt coming up, and they don't want to do it. And he pulls me aside and he goes, listen to me very clearly. I did the exact same thing on my first movie, on Deliverance. I insisted they let me go over this waterfall. I broke my back.
Oof.
And you cannot tell it's me in the movie. Do not jump off that waterfall. And I was like, okay.
Like, well,
not
if
gonna
my
jump
dad
off that
says
waterfall.
so,
And then Brill never
guess
heard
I
about it
can.
again.
The greatest thing about that is that he showed up at this incredible resort in the Waireki. We're there, and they've thrown this party for Bert. And like it's supposed to start at 7, and Bert shows up like 11 o'clock at night.
Well,
And there's like
time change.
There's 5 of us waiting for him, and he was everything you wanted him to be because he was this. He loved his stories, and you get the sense that. I mean this in the best possible way. That when the story is probably jumping off a 20-foot waterfall. That was probably the reality. He probably slapped his back.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
over
yeah.
time, it had
course.
lost pop to him. And now it was 700 feet, and he almost died. And he went down. You know, the story had become so.
Yeah, I
big.
ate that bear.
But we sat there, and every one of us like just let him be the movie star that he was for a decade
Yes.
after
And
that.
he was so loving to the actors.
He was.
Yeah.
He was rough with directors, but he was loved actors.
He got into a place in his career where he needed to remind people that he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And so he would make a bit of a demonstration on set about how much homework he had done or how good he is at his job.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a common folly. It just is like an insecurity thing. And you could tell, man, it was the first movie he had done in a while.
Yeah.
And getting back at a job for a studio when you're a
He
legend
wasn't the
of that
lead.
caliber.
Yeah.
Not the lead, he was older, much older, and playing like an older man. Really struggling with his own vanity, really struggling with what he can look like and, you know, what he's supposed to play that can challenge an actor's
human, any human.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to sort of grow old gracefully.
Yeah. We already admitted
Perspective.
the bad version would be vain, or the kinder would be like we're insecure. You and I were
Insecure, for
already Like, I don't know if I'm good looking enough to be in these
we grew up
movies.
with that baggage.
Yes.
Tam. Do you Tam the mom? By the way, still get people.
Oh, Tam.
Do they?
Still get, oh yeah. Because of the podcast.
We talked
because the
about
podcast.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, Tam.
But do you remember
That sweet
Burt's
boy.
big stunt that he did?
Yes.
It's not even in the
Please
movie.
tell the story. Yes, it is.
What?
Yeah.
Him going over the railing?
Yeah,
I don't
him
know if
going
it
over the
is. I
logs.
just watched it, but he
Him
was
going over
going
the-
to get shot and go over a railing and fall, and they brought his stunt.
No, over the wood pile.
oh, okay, over the wood pile.
Yeah, sorry.
Point is,
I don't know why
he's,
that's
Very important.
I don't know why that's so important.
I thought it was a railing.
point is
Wow.
he's gonna take a big fall.
Sure.
And of course, there's a stunt man brought in to do
Yes.
that. He's like in his 70s already at this
Yeah.
point. And he tells, by the way, he told me, don't do your own
Yeah, I was
stunts.
about to
and
say
then
the irony.
I'm like, hold on a second, maybe I do want to do this waterfall thing. But so he basically
ego.
tells Brill, he's like, get him out of here. I'm doing the stunt. Get my wetsuit.
Oh, God.
He travels with it. Instead of having pads
Or
and all the
any-
landing
yeah.
spot that you should have or
Yeah.
normally would have, his move is to put on a wetsuit, and he's like, I can jump off anything as long as I have the wetsuit to land on. So he put a
What?
wetsuit on at 70-some years old, and then put his outfit on,
my God.
and then fucking
Absolutely
jump
no
backwards.
rationale.
Yeah, he got squibbed.
Yeah,
Squibs
right.
go off, and he launches. He goes to launch himself over the logs.
Yeah.
He gets kicked and caught on the logs and starts to like scooch over the logs and flops on the backside. The entire place erupts. The three of us had wrapped, and we stuck around to watch it. The entire place erupts, and literally it's like that's a wrap on Burt Reynolds. Bringing stunt guy.
Yeah. Oh,
You know what's
Shot
great?
it.
man.
This is such a great point of perspective because, like, in my memory, he did it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I thought he did it too.
I had such rose-colored
You're him. That's why.
I
You
am.
are so
Oh yeah,
him.
I'll never forget. Burt Reynolds slapped me in a scene, and I don't think I've ever seen you jealous of me in your entire life, except for that one moment.
I was furious.
You were like, "How did he slap you? Why
You
did he
got the
slap
slap.
you? How did you?"
Because
Dom
you-
You
DeLuise.
put up with so much from him.
Yeah, but do you know the thing about the slap? So Burt Reynolds in all those Cannonball Run movies, and any movie he did with Dom DeLuise, when one of them would forget their lines, they'd slap each other,
Or
and then at
crack.
the end of the movie, there would be a great gag reel, and you'd see Burt
Oh,
Reynolds
that's
slapping everyone,
Yeah.
and so he slapped Lillard, and I was like, oh man, I wanted to get slapped.
Yeah, that's sad. But to what your point about age, I think everyone feels this, right? Whether you're an actor or not. But for an actor, you see, there's
yeah.
visually, you see a timeline of your life and little things changing in your body and your face. And it must be hard. It's hard for anyone who's thinking about, like, well, it's just my birthday, as we just discussed.
Happy birthday!
You guys already
birthday.
sang to me. It was very sweet. But, it's like,
Happy
whoa. No, we don't
birthday
have to do it again.
to you.
We do, like, it makes you think about death. We've been talking about it so much, like death and mortality. And when you see the visual representation, it's must be harder. And you can speak
and
to
I
that.
think the interesting about that is that I don't feel different.
Exactly.
I still feel like this boy, this beautiful boy in the movie, and I look at my body and I look at my face, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I am not the same. And while I do love this sense of gained wisdom over time and having an ownership of a career that I'm proud of, being an artist, like all these things I've grown into as a man, I still look at that who I was growing up and like, you're like you're so far, you've come so far. It's humbling.
But you also don't, like you were saying, like, don't you have a bit of compassion for yourself that, like, why was I doing that to myself? You're like, why was I so hard on myself?
There's
Like, why was I
100%.
fucking thought I was so terrible?
Well, I also think in my mindset, I've always been scrambling up a ladder with very little success. When I look back at my career, I've beyond my wildest dreams have I been successful.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
Yes.
still working. I mean, the fact that,
You couldn't shoot this on time.
yeah.
I wanted this to come out on the exact 20th anniversary, and it's delayed because you're in another fucking country.
Yeah.
You're in Toronto.
Toronto, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't geotag him. He's trying to just get some food with his family.
Well,
Come on,
Five
guys.
Nights is the single biggest thing to ever happen in my life. That movie, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Isn't that crazy?
It's it's the
Tell
the
me.
biggest. So Five Nights at Freddy's is a franchise that came out last year.
The movie, the
movie,
video
yeah.
game.
It's a video
been,
game.
Years and years.
It made $300 million. $20 million movie. It made
Wow.
$300
Oh
million.
my God.
Yeah.
Is that your biggest movie? I mean, the
By
Scooby.
far.
Yeah.
It's like one of the biggest.
Guys, Without a Paddle is still my biggest movie.
Is it really?
I've been in a couple that made more, but I wasn't really in them. You know, like I wasn't on the poster.
Right.
But for a movie that I was one of the main people, and it never got better.
Right.
Film wise, it went downhill from there.
But you also got to put in years on a drama with some of the
Yeah.
most
Yeah,
gifted
TV.
and talented
I've always
people.
had great luck on TV, and of course, I never
Yeah, but it's
embraced
kind
it.
of just
Right?
become
It's never what
the
you
same thing. It's just become the same thing. Like the shows are the shows, the movies are the movies.
Yeah.
The like there's really, because of the reality TV, I think it's just democratized the concept of fame. And
Sure.
so
For
people
sure.
become intimate with you in whatever your form of expression is.
And I'm at total peace with everything. I could not be more delighted with
No.
the way everything shook out, right? But that first movie was as good as it got for
Yeah.
me
So far.
in the trades. Our joke was that the three of us combined hopefully would equal like an Owen Wilson.
Right.
We were like, let's hope that the three of us adds up.
The
And
one
this-
Owen Wilson film.
Can we just touch down really quick on that? I just want to touch down on one of the stories Burt told at that dinner, because it is,
Oh,
to
yeah.
this day, probably my favorite story I've ever heard. And
What
I wonder
is
if
it?
you remember, it's the Hal
do.
Needham story.
Yeah, the
No.
Ned
The
Beatty
nurse.
story.
No. He's living with Hal Needham in real life, Burt Reynolds. And one day Hal comes home from work and he says, Burt, you got to take me to the hospital. I broke my back. And Burt goes, Hal, I don't think if you broke your back, you would have driven home and blah, blah, blah. He's like, you take me to the fucking hospital right now. So they go to the hospital. And Hal and Burt are in the examination room. And this is a weird part of the story, but he does include that Hal's like flirting with the nurse and got something going with the nurse. And the doctor seems to be annoyed by that. Burt's opinion is that maybe the doctor and the nurse were having an affair or something. But it's a little bit.
Remember that detail? Hal Needham, by the way, is a
So-
stuntman.
Stuntman and director.
Very
He directed
famous, yeah.
Hooper. He directed
Sharky's Machine,
Smoking the Bandit.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
So, the most legendary stuntman of all time. So, they give him an x-ray. The doctor comes in and he said, you have broken your back. And worse, you have a good deal of fluid in your lungs, and I have to drain the fluid out before I put you in the back brace and send you on your way. And he says, okay. And he says, you're going to have to stand up against the wall. I need you standing. I'm going to put this needle in your back. And he says, okay. And then he says to the nurse, the doctor says, I want you to hold his legs. And Hal is in the full little gown. And so Hal's against the wall. And right when the doctor puts the needle in his lungs, Hal shits all over the nurse who's holding his legs. Do you not remember this story? Because I'm like, all the details of
why
this.
you do.
Well,
What
because
are you?
I've never heard a story in my life where I thought it was going in one direction. It was about how tough he was. There was like, he was flirting with her. And then there was the doctor and him getting a fight. Like, and I'm like, what? Hal shit all over the nurse? That's what this story is about.
I do not remember
How
that.
could you have forgotten that
Oh my
story?
God. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
No.
back to whether,
Yeah.
and then I remember
Definitely.
the next day you going, as you just did when you first set up the story, you're like, I just wonder what part of that was real. And I was
Yes.
like, man,
Oh, yeah.
don't you dare let logic stand in the way of a story of this magnitude. Just allow yourself to think that
that's
happened.
Oh, God.
I think another fun thing one of the very scary things was like all the river work and the jumping and the blah, blah, blah. The next thing is Bart the Bear,
Oh, God.
which
That is like, I tell that story all the time.
Wait, I want to. Okay, then we want to hear your version because we've heard that, and I want
Oh,
to
you
see the
have?
comparison.
I too I bet Bart
Oh,
the Bear
God.
comes up on this podcast more than any other thing
like
from
Cedar
my career.
Point, Bart the Bear. There's some stories we could probably recite.
Oh, you know Cedar Point, don't you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. It was the best. It was the best.
I can't.
Magnum XJ 220.
That was That was like a family vacation. Cedar Point was a family
I know.
vacation.
The world's
I
most
know.
This is a
dangerous
runner now because
hotspot.
anyone who's from Michigan or even around there will start talking and drives her fucking nuts. And by the
It's
way, we
like-
all say the same
It's
exact
the best.
thing. Yeah.
It's the best.
The best.
Low rent,
So
red,
happy for you
Yes,
guys.
white trash place in the world.
Okay, so
Okay,
your
Bart the
versions of
Bear.
Bart
Yeah,
the
so
Bear.
Bart the Bear. So Bart gets there, right? He's taken like 7 or 8 stops up and over the continent.
Utah, San Francisco, China, Australia, New Zealand.
I thought it went to Alaska.
Yes.
Oh,
Didn't he go up?
you're right.
he
You're
went
right.
up?
You're right. He
Yeah,
went
yeah.
Utah, Alaska, China.
yeah.
Are you just
Sorry.
talking
So-
about how many ports he needed to stop in, or was
Yeah,
this
they had
other
to stop,
work
like, every
that he
4
was
3
doing along the
hours.
way? Bart's doing a bunch of appearances. He's signing autographs at the Alaska
Bart!
Crab Fair.
Bart's in Beijing signing all
That
those.
is exactly. So I'll go fast. So he gets there. Everyone brings the bear. You know, they all have this meeting. They're literally anyone who's menstruating, please don't be on set.
Okay, that was
Right?
that's part
so
of it.
they've got like a long ladled frying pan that they fill with coffee and whipped cream. And
So,
they
so
slide it into the
unstable,
bear.
by the way. Like, how hard that is to lift it. Like, think about cleaning a pool, how challenging that is, and then balance a fucking frying pan.
And they would get this bear all hopped up on coffee
And donut.
and whipped cream, right?
Whipped cream.
And then what happens is that they bring Bart out, and the guy who does the Bart's trainer talks like this.
Doug.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Doug, and his son's there. Remember, son is on like he's got a dart gun.
Trank duty.
Yeah, and so long and short of it is, there's a scene where the camera's here, Bart is moving across the foreground, and Dax and I are behind. Now, listen, the bear has learned not to go over these little wires that literally will get you in the ankles, but they're electrocuted, like little wires.
Yeah.
Well, during the training, they have been, but then they don't have them electrified when we're actually shooting. It's just precaution, and it's a psychological trick that they play with Bart the Bear. So this could be the moment that Bart was like, hey, these aren't on. And just like,
Yeah.
we don't know.
So they get in this shot, right? And we start shooting. Action! And the bear starts to walk across. And all of a sudden, halfway through, the bear stops. And you hear the trainer goes, Bart! No Bart! No Bart! And they're literally, they're like, don't look at the bear! And Dax and I are sitting there like, what the fuck? He's like, don't run! Don't panic, boys! And the bear's like, oh, and you can see the bear getting agitated.
this is horrifying.
He's like, don't look at the bear! And we're sitting in our underwear.
Yeah. Do you remember he tore the fake tree apart? He attacked. There was a
that's-
fake tree. And he
yes.
just demolished this fake tree. Like we saw his wrath.
Right there in front of us. And he's like, no Bart! No Bart! And he's screaming, and we are like literally 2 naked men between
We're all
us
still,
and this
we're all still
giant
dressed.
bear.
We were dressed.
We were dressed. Yeah.
We were
Oh, we
dressed.
were?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
at
I
that
thought
point.
we were in.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
all
yeah,
of
yeah.
our naked stuff.
Oh,
is
now
with
I'm
Bert.
embarrassed. But
No,
yes.
it's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
embarrassed.
And you see the guy, you see his son with the gun trained on the Bart, and all of a sudden, what else did I forget? Like that's
Well, my version, of course, is
it
part
close?
of the menstruation
yeah.
thing was,
Okay.
here are the rules around Bart. If you're on your period, you can't come to set.
Yeah.
2, don't look Bart in the eyes.
Yes, don't look him in the eyes.
3, don't ever run away. Don't run in front of Bart. It'll trigger his predatorial
Right.
instinct. And then don't be afraid around him because he can sense it.
Yeah.
In the very first
look-
scene in the movie that you
Yeah.
just set up, if you recall, my back is completely to Bart. You guys are staring at him, and you guys are telling me to turn around. There's a bear.
Oh.
I turn around. I look Bart directly in the eyes. I scream, and then I run. And I was like, guys, I'm going to do 3 of the 4 things. I'm just not on my period. That's the only thing I have going for me. That's
That's
the
so funny.
first scene we shoot with the bear.
Well, it was a wide shot, so there's nobody close to us
Yeah.
on either side. It's nothing but darkness behind us, and the bear going across. And like, don't look at him, boys! Don't look at him!
Okay, but now turn around and look at him and scream and run. And then the other weird one that happened was when Bart was thrashing that horse trailer. Remember he needed to work, but he was in there thrashing the horse trailer. Everyone doesn't know what to do, and Doug got in the horse trailer
Yeah.
by himself
Yeah.
and
I
shut
don't
the door.
remember that.
And we're listening, and you keep hearing Doug go,
No,
no, Bart,
Bart, no, Bart." Yes.
And then
That I do
the
remember.
trailer moves around, and then you hear, oh, Bart. Oh, but good boy, Bart. And clearly he's like, He's calmed him.
Oh, God.
And he would lay
But
on
there
top
would-
of Doug, remember?
Yeah, that was the thing I remember the most was him laying on top of Doug, and because you would all of a sudden hear that like, "Good boy, Bart." Just hear that.
Oh my god.
It was madness, Monica.
Yeah,
was
I'm
crazy.
shocked you guys survived this.
And
movie.
There's
everyone
so
had-
many opportunities for all of us to die on that
Yes.
movie, and none of us did, guys.
No.
None of us did.
And everyone had a lot of scars that worked with Bart.
Yeah.
Except for
Yeah.
Doug.
Yeah.
Doug,
they
did you
had
guys
a-
remember Doug's eyes?
No.
They were magic. They were like the most beautiful, soothing blue eyes I'd ever seen. I was like,
Born
oh,
to
that's
So
why
funny.
he can get down with Bart the way he can. He
Yeah.
like something about those eyes.
Until you can't. Still a bear.
That's
Still
right.
a bear.
Still a bear.
Still a bear.
Hopped up on coffee and sugar.
Exactly.
That was crazy.
You have to imagine though, for you, like that, everything that happened on that movie is super imprinted for me because it's
Yeah,
my
right.
first one.
Yeah.
You know, I probably remember so many details, but you got that was like your 29th movie, and that was your.
I remember
Well, it was
so many
something
details
crazy
because it was the first time that I had gotten a direct offer. It was the most I'd made on a movie at that point.
Yeah.
It was the first time that the studio was like, "Yeah, we're gonna put you on the poster on purpose," and so there was
purpose.
you know what I mean. So there was a little bit of not pressure, but I was like, "All right, guys, well, this is our shot. So let's
You leveled
let's make
up,
it."
and it was like a thing.
Why didn't it
Deliver.
level us up? What? It leveled you up.
It did. I got
What are you
opportunities.
talking about? People saw you on film in this
I
like.
never got leveled up.
What are you talking
That's
about?
that's
That was the last
honest.
meeting.
That's honest.
I
And
never got a leading man role after that.
that's so honest and true. And we talked about it when
leveled
I
up.
got a lot of opportunities
Yeah,
out of that.
for sure.
I was the new thing.
Yeah.
I like you guys were known quantities, and I was this new thing, and I was a part of something that worked, and I got a ton of opportunities
Yeah.
after that. I got to lead like maybe 3 movies in a row right after. None of them worked. You'll be happy to know. So it was a short-lived opportunity.
happy to know.
He doesn't
I know you were always
want that.
rooting for me.
You are
I know
funny.
you.
I do think it's funny. At that point in your career, because you were brand new, you had lots of ideas of what fame looked like. Lots of ideas of what money looked like.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big thing for you. And I used to
Huge.
think, you're like, this is what I'm doing. If I ever make money, this is how. And I look at your life now. You're doing very well.
Yeah.
And the difference between that
The
moment
fantasy.
and now. Yeah. And just also like,
Yeah, you were so rich to me.
it's so funny.
And you probably said so. Did he say so?
I don't know, but I went to your
Yes.
house in
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Pasadena,
sure.
and I was like, "Oh my god, look at this pool,
Yeah.
and he has a Porsche." Yeah, I admittedly
like a- such a-
fascinated with money.
Yeah, because and I think that's funny now because that's not
you
who
have
you are
it.
now.
What's
It's
funny-
also not who you are now.
And what's funny is I got the money when I stopped trying to get the money.
Right.
Yeah. That's how it always
Happiness
goes.
Has anything to do with money?
No,
At all.
it's the Mike Tyson quote. He goes, "When someone tells me that having a lot of money will make you happy, what I know about that person is they've never had a lot of money." And I'm like, "Whoa, that cuts right to."
But if I had told 26-year-old Dax that was the case, you'd be like, "Fuck you, you're rich. You have no idea what you're talking
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. And I say that all the time. I'm like, I'm passing this on. I wouldn't listen. No, you're not going to listen unless you can experience it.
Yeah.
Well, I think movie-wise, unless there's any other scenes you guys think of that we should chat about, but I think now what would be fun is just like what was happening off camera was so sweet and so fun. We started in Wellington in the North Island of New Zealand, and then we were kind of on the road for the second half of the film. And when we were in New Zealand, you had an apartment, I had an apartment, you were at the Intercontinental,
Right. Just get that hotel life.
Oh,
One
hell
of you
yeah.
Gym right
guys.
downstairs, room service, up.
Yeah, I'm
all
surprised
night.
you guys didn't go for that.
Well, I was saving, if you guys recall, all my per diem.
Yeah.
Remember, 'cause again, back to the money fears. I was like, oh, I got this per diem. I got to save it.
Can't just spend it.
I was like, how much is? Remember, you got like a nice apartment. It was by a gym. I'm like, how much is that place? How much of your per diem are you spending? You're like, I'm not thinking about my per diem. That's what it's there for. Is for
Again,
you.
the money, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it was driving everything. And I saved all my per diem until I relapsed at the end of the movie. And then magically, all of this per diem, by the time I got on the airplane, I had 0 per diem. I was like, where'd all the per diem go? Oh, that's right. I've been fucked up for 4 days. And now it's all completely gone.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
I just think your ability to express your own journey in sobriety publicly is like incredible.
It really is.
Oh, thank
Because
you.
I would be like, I can't share that, but
Well, that
think
was a
it's-
big element that was going on. There was a lot of things for me that was going on, but one of them was like I was maybe 2 months sober when I got there, and it's like my first movie, and you guys are normal, so you can drink and have fun, and I feel like I'm missing out on that, and
I don't know if you
there was
remember,
a
but I had
huge battle going on about me being sober too. That I don't know how much I was talking about, but I guess when Ethan arrived, I was really fucking happy because Ethan was also sober. I was like, I could at least commiserate with him. Like, oh man, yeah.
was he sober then?
Uh huh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, and he and I were both smoking 600-700 cigarettes a day, if you recall.
I do remember
drinking
that.
5,000
But you quit
black
cigarettes
teas.
at one point when we were working together. I remember specifically because we were out in the lake and you spit something out of your mouth that I had never seen before, and I was like, "Are you all right?" And you said, "Yeah, I'm not smoking cigarettes anymore, so all this shit is coming out."
No, all this shit was coming out.
Not
Ew,
smoking cigarettes. And the
God.
second you stop smoking, your lungs start doing the thing that they're supposed to do and start filtering all this shit
Oh my
out of your lungs. You
God.
wind up like coughing up all of the stuff that's getting trapped in there
Well, it's
when
been-
you smoke.
But he was
anything.
sober too.
Well, he
Well,
quit
I-
smoking weed.
I did. Because we needed to be the athleticism required for. I just knew it was going to be endurance challenge, and I didn't. And also, it was like a first big opportunity. I was like, I do not want to be at all cloudy. I'm going to run my program. I'll find my moments to sleep. I'm going to eat what I need to eat. I'll exercise when I need to exercise. Like everything for the movie at that point. And
Yes.
I knew that smoking. The
He
way
wasn't
I like
smoking
to
weed,
smoke,
so but he drank. Who cares? You
and
should
everyone
drink.
was
You don't
well
have a
because
problem.
people were buying me shots all night.
Walking in New Zealand with Seth, and I'd be like, bro, put on he is the most recognizable celebrity
Yeah.
at that time.
I look exactly like me.
exactly
no matter
like you,
what I
and you
do.
refuse
Glasses,
to wear a
beard.
baseball hat and
But I
glasses.
was. But I
And I'm
was.
like, dude,
but even
we
if
are
I,
walking through a mall. You need to put some shit on.
I'm just
so
going
that
to
you hide.
I was still a little bit like, what? I'm just going to a movie. Let me be a people.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And we
They're
have
really
to
picking that
surround him
fucking
to
fight.
get him out of these little like
Yeah, he was so famous.
these little
Again,
Wow.
gaggles of
a
fans.
wild
it was
moment.
so
famous.
exciting for me too. I loved it.
And you're like, I'm in the movie too.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dax.
This punk down here is not. Okay.
Yeah.
But then all that to say, I don't know who, one of you two, I feel like it was you, Matt, got the idea, let's rent, there's this spectacular house.
Oh yeah,
I found out that's
The king
available.
the king of
Thailand.
Yeah.
Had built some crazy house. He didn't live there, and he was
Beautiful.
just about to rent it out for the first time. And you figured that out, and you were like, "Let's all share this." I was like, "Oh, okay, that'll be all my per diem." But yeah, that is just like as special as it gets. That whole
And we were playing games.
yes, you were making us do a thing where
running
you had to
charades.
running
Oh,
charades.
Oh, yeah, we had
That's
that.
so much fun.
We had that
Monica.
ping
I love
pong
running
table.
charades.
I know, but I'm saying Matt is so much
Oh,
fun.
I
He
just
was-
like games. I do like my birthday every year. We'll play like celebrity, running charades.
And you introduced us to
Mafia.
you told us we all had to bring 5 minutes of our favorite movie.
Coffee and clips.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Coffee and clips is you ask people to bring a clip of a movie, and it can be anything, like 3 to 5 minutes long. You just have to have a reason why you've chosen it.
Ooh.
So you show the clip, and then you sort of have a conversation about why that clip means something to you.
I love that.
What film? It's sort of like a great way to get to know people
Yeah.
because you're like sharing. Like this reminds me of my dad. This reminds me of whatever.
Yeah, that's very cool.
You know.
And then
It's really great.
I like
even
that.
within that is, I think, also what was an interesting dynamic between all of us, which is like it's impossible that the symmetry could work so well, but no one was in each other's lanes. Like, and I say this with real respect. Like, Matt's a fucking artist. He loves acting. He loves teaching. He loves learning. You're like such a beautiful, real artist. And Seth was like in the middle of that spectrum, like great reverie for it, a professional, but also can pop in or out. He can just do it, and he's not thinking terribly. And then I don't know what I do back in improv, and I don't have much reverie for any of it, right?
Right.
And it was so fun. Like, we all had such different approaches to what we were doing. And then I would even say, like, you're very alpha. You're the leader of wherever you're at. And I'm kind of the leader, but we're such different ones that there was never, for at least from my point of
No,
view,
never.
Just like love and coexistence. And then you are your own version of alpha, which is like you've never done anything you didn't want to do ever. Period. It's not happening.
Maybe not on film, but
But you're a very convicted person.
Yeah.
In a really admirable way. You
Thanks.
know what you like and what you believe, and you're not easily swayed. So, that it just gelled the way
Yeah.
it did is kind of magic.
Yeah,
It was.
think that, something. I look back on that experience specifically, and I think that a lot of people like go off and have college experiences.
Yeah.
Like they're in a fraternity, they're in whatever. We have this moment that's sort of
Yeah.
that was this thing, like you're together, you're inseparable, you're through thick and you're thick as thieves, through thin, through
I got
cut
it.
that part out.
No.
Yeah, cut that part
I gotta
out.
leave that in. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Thank you.
Rob, what's a great metaphor for super close?
It all just comes together.
No, but we were together and we were thick as thieves and
Yes.
together all the time. And there was that bond.
Who do you think's changed the most?
Changed?
Do you think
How
so?
do you
Over
mean, like
time.
circumstances
Changed.
or as a person?
Not circumstance, as a person.
Well, we've just watched him mature and evolve into this role in a way
Yes.
that I think we both saw coming, at least as a
I
as
did
a
not see
possibility.
coming.
You take your,
What are you talking about? Did not
when
see
we
coming.
when we work together, I'm like, oh, this guy could do it. This guy could do it. Don't make missteps, and you crush this. You got the right attitude. You definitely got the goods. You just gotta show up and do the job, like actually do the job. Yeah.
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 That's fair,
Yeah,
though.
I mean,
go
You
ahead.
didn't make a great
Go ahead.
case for it at the press junket.
I wouldn't have bet on me.
Not as.
Oh, I'm not saying I wouldn't have bet.
And
on
I don't
you.
mean career-wise.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
But
But,
no,
again,
you-
let's just fast forward to the end of the movie. So I had been sober the whole movie.
Right.
We get to the last 5 days. Well, I know exactly what specifically happened. Is when I would go out with you, I would always order a Red Bull.
Yeah.
And you would get a Red Bull vodka.
Sure.
I was at the bar, fully intending to stay sober, and I ordered a Red Bull, and I grabbed it, and I took a huge pull,
And vodka.
and it was vodka. Like, right when it hit my throat, I was like, oh, fuck, yeah. It's like, alcohol is such a specific feeling in your throat. I was like, well, I already drank that. I'm like, what am I going to do right now?
Oh boy.
And I'm like, I was going to drink the rest of this Red Bull.
Ah, fuck.
So I drank the rest of the Red Bull. No further issue that night. A couple days went by. I was like, yeah, look at that. I had a drink. Showed up for work. Everything's groovy. I'm like, I'm gonna get a bottle of wine when I go home, and I'm just gonna drink one glass.
Oh, fuck.
And then I did that successfully. I'm like, yeah, we're doing all right. Next night, same. Cut to
It was the Saturday party.
It
It
was
was
the
the sun up.
Saturday.
The sun up party.
I decided it's last. Do you guys remember this? We were shooting through the night, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna have a party at my apartment in Wellington when we wrap. And I took all my per diem money,
They guaranteed us we were gonna wrap in daylight.
and then we had 2 days off.
Yeah.
It was like the last shot of the week, and then I'm like, fuck it, I did great. We have 1 day left, I think maybe. I'm gonna host a party.
Before we wrapped, you said, "Hey, the locals have something they're calling crank," and I was
No,
like, something
P. They called it P.
And I was like,
which
"What is that?" And you're like, "It's basically like bathtub crank." I think it comes from a big pen, like the faculty. And I was like, "I don't like anything
Crystal
about
meth.
it."
Come to
It's like,
find out,
I'm just gonna get a lot of
many
it.
members of our crew were fully on P the whole
Oh
time,
my
which
God.
was not revealed until this party I
Yeah.
hosted. So we have a party at my apartment that starts at like 8 a.m. There's like probably 30 people from the crew. You're there. People are there.
Yeah.
And this
I'm
great.
not there.
Yep.
No.
Yeah, you
I'm
didn't
not
make
there.
it.
Because
No,
you
were
knew
smart.
that this was not a good idea.
You were
know-
probably tired.
Yeah,
a night
it was
shoot.
like I had a wife and kid. I mean, I was in a
Right.
different world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To be fair. Keep going.
So
So it was
we-
also they were like, "We're gonna get some weed," and I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna smoke a joint.
Yep.
I'm gonna smoke a joint. It's in the daylight during the sun. It'll be the first time in
We're at the end of the movie.
3 months.
Yeah.
All the work is behind us enough that I'm gonna take this moment.
I also think I would have jumped in. I also don't know if I was invited. I'm pretty sure I would have been like, bro,
You're
do
very
not
good
fucking
at
do that.
separating yourself from the situation, though.
Yeah.
I am.
You're a very good guy, and you would have tried to help me.
And maybe you knew that, which is maybe why you didn't invite him.
Yeah. Oh, I'm certain I invited him,
I'm
but
sure
for
I
whatever
invited him,
reason, he wasn't there. Everything was kind of kosher. I don't remember his name, and I don't even want to single him out. But there was a dude that was hanging around that had been one of the characters in Lord of the Rings, and he was an enormous dude. He was a stuntman and an actor, and he was like 6'4" and Maori and like 300 pounds.
Could be any one of
He was so
90
friendly.
people.
But we party everyone, the normal people leave. All of a sudden, the pee comes out. I'm smoking pee with the crew members. This turns into like a 2-day thing. Turns into me hanging with this dude who's enormous. He's like, "Do you want to get some ecstasy?" Yes. Cut to me and him on 4 hits of ecstasy. I've been awake for 2 days, and I've been this whole time I'm around him because I'm so afraid he's so strong. I have to find out. I'm like, "Would you like to wrestle?" He's like, "Absolutely." Cut to us wrestling for 40 minutes on ecstasy in my apartment.
You're
day
the
2.
best. What?
Somehow get through the last day of work, and then the rap party. I don't know if you guys remember the rap party, but I had so many hits of ecstasy. My lips were like so big, and Drew was like, "What is happening with your mouth?" I'm like, "I've been chewing on it for the last 3 days on pee and
Oh my
ecstasy."
God. I actually left the rap party after only a half an hour and flew to New York to shoot Sesame Street. So I was just having a completely different experience.
Yeah.
I find that so heartbreaking.
You do.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I find it so heartbreaking. I know that your candor is like part of your superpower, but it just makes me so sad that that's how it ended.
Yeah. I remember on the plane ride home, I was flying back sitting next to Brill. And Brill goes, he's like, observed the last week of this experience and how quickly it ratcheted up. And he goes, I was like bummed you didn't drink. And I thought, it'd be fun to party with Dax. And having witnessed it, you shouldn't. Like, you really don't do this. And I was like already in the shame of having done all that. And then I just remember that flight home, him just real talking me and going like, this is not for you, dude. You're not equipped.
You're not equipped.
Yeah, that's good though. That's
some
one of those
point-
moments where like an adult or as much of an adult as you have is like, "Hey man, don't fuck this up."
Yes.
That's Seth's job. And I would have. But I think at some point you said to me, and obviously you can cut this if you want. I'm not that you care, but you're like, for me, if I have a drink, I immediately, the difference between you and me is that you can have a drink and be fine. I immediately start to think, well, where am I going to get my next drink? What time does the liquor store close on Sunday? If there's a Friday, I go, okay, I'm going to go buy bottles for Saturday, but I know I'm going to go through it. So on Sunday, I need to make sure I have drinks through the night. And then I end up at LAX smoking crack.
Yeah. Ghost town.
And
Yeah.
There is no end to the chase.
Until the body collapses. My fear of leaving that state where I don't have insecurities and worries and fears, to leave it, I'd rather be dead. So I go until the body goes, that's it, we're turning you off, Yeah. Well, that got heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it usually does.
Yeah.
Yeah, addiction is the fucking worst.
But
It's
I guess
the worst.
the upside is like, also, thank fucking God I made it through.
Yeah.
95% of the
wouldn't
movie.
have
Like,
been-
I would have ruined that whole experience if I hadn't at least held it together as long
You
as
would
I
have
did.
ruined your whole life.
Yeah, I don't think we would have let
You wouldn't be in this seat right now if you didn't.
No, I'm not married with kids, and I don't have.
Well,
no.
you would have. Hollywood would have been like, that kid's. You can't trust him.
Yeah,
You would
yeah.
not have
Quick.
gone to do 4 more movies to understand that there's real value to you or whatever came through. You got to the point where you were able to, in your addiction, love yourself more.
Yeah.
I think I know nothing about it. to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
honest, But
Yeah.
not that I don't have
Yeah,
my
you
own
chose
issues.
yourself at some point.
Yeah. Well, what really, I read Tom Arnold's book, which has the best title ever. It's like How I Lose 7 Pounds in 10 Years or something like that. That's roughly the name of the book. How to Lose 7 Pounds in 10 Years. And he said in that book, luckily, the only thing I was addicted to more than cocaine was wanting to be famous. He's like, I knew I would lose this other thing I wanted so bad. It's the only thing I wanted worse than cocaine. And in some level, that was true because I got sober for Without a Paddle. I came home, I was fucked up for a period from that relapse. Then I got sober for Idiocracy. Then Press Tour, which is its own funny. We could do a whole episode on just
Oh
our
my God.
Press
We
tour.
talk about it on Seth's
It is a
original
very-
episode on our show.
We talked about
I'm sure
9
we talked
cities
about
in
it.
13 days or something crazy
It
like
was
that.
insane.
It was so
insane.
fun and insane and
Yeah.
way too much work for anybody. And I mean, just cut to the fun. What's your funnest moment from the Press tour?
Was it Wrigley Field? in Chicago.
Oh, that was fun. We threw out the first pitch.
But it was that whole night. That whole night was so insane. And I shot video of you eating the deep dish pizza. That still makes me laugh. Because we were just having a conversation about
like
how
it.
good the pizza
Random.
was. And then it turned into a bit of us just eating the pizza and weeping over the quality of the pizza. And so Dax is just like, oh, I'm just so hungry. I can't
Very
even just do
wholesome.
it justice. It's
I
just so
will say
silly.
that the thing I remember most about the whole experience is that the two of you always had bits. Were always on. The two of
Annoyingly
you-
so. We can
Yeah.
get ourselves. We'll start doing the same
Dangerous.
voice, and we're so annoying to be around.
Yeah.
And Heather was like, have fun today. Good luck getting a word in edgewise. Because the two of you make each other laugh. You bring each other legitimate joy.
And
And
in
so
fact,
the
in
two of them would just like, at a table like 15 people, like,
Yes.
And in that period,
That's a
we
really
had
good
we were
impersonation.
doing an old man voice a lot. We were constantly going like, "Well, those are some decadent peanuts."
You had been workshopping this character because you were building your own version of Fletch, which I was like so excited. I'm like, this is what you do. And he's like, all my heroes, they write like it's Steve Martin, it's Will Ferrell. Like you write your movie, you say I'm this character, and then he had all these characters he was workshopping, and you had this Southern gentleman who was a refined, sophisticated fella. He
Love nuts.
saw himself as a
Pistachios.
aficionado of the nuts. It was like
And it would never
Bubba
end.
Gump.
We could talk like it
all
for
the
5 minutes. It must have been maddening
so
for you.
upsetting.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it was
And then-
hilarious. But I remember at that point in my life, it was one of the things that I realized about myself is that when you're surrounded by people that are authentically funny,
Yeah.
like there have been a couple times in my life, I'm funny, I'm charming, but these two men are the two funniest people, and where they're in that space, I would try to compete, but I'm like, I can't. I learned this about myself. I can't compete at that level.
Yeah.
So you just sit back and enjoy.
Or
you-
get annoyed.
Yeah.
Either's
Or
fair.
walk away.
But there are definitely times. My favorite memory on the press tour is at some point you had two women that you had brought to the plane to go over the border, and they were like, I was like, you guys, how are they gonna get back? They're like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We'll give a bus
fare. Like we were so.
I was
silly.
like, they need passports. You don't have fucking passports. You can't just get them on the plane.
Oh, that's right.
We
were-
fell in love in an
we were-
interview.
None of that is true.
I did.
We were in Canada and we met some press
Women.
journalists that were young women.
Thank you. Yeah.
Same
age as
like
us.
comparable age, and they were both like very professional. We were like, listen, why don't we go out for dinner tonight? Because we gotta come meet us at the airport because we gotta fly out, but we have at least an hour. Come have dinner with
It
us.
was a lot more than that. Oh,
Right, no.
Well, then the
plane
plane
got
was
delayed.
grounded.
Then
That's
the
right.
plane is grounded. We're like, hey, we're here through the night. Like maybe this is a thing. And the whole press tour, we were like, get on the plane with us. In every city, and people were
Every
like,
city, they were
no,
trying to get women on the plane.
no.
Well,
And time to remind people you were in an open relationship.
yes,
Because
yes,
we
yes,
have been
yes,
talking
yes,
also
yes,
about Bree
yes,
being there.
Yes,
and,
yes.
Were
yeah.
you in an open relationship?
Yes, how could you not remember that?
I don't remember.
We were
remember
very
that.
open about that.
It was pretty
We
open.
would always tell people. Okay, my two favorite memories are one. I was always so hung up on where we were going to sit because all three of us would go do all these shows all around the country, and clearly one of you two should be next to the host. And it's debatable who's more famous, right? Well, it's not. We know where Shepard's sitting. He's sitting like wherever the third seat is the whole trip, right? And we were doing a sports show
I do
in
not
Philadelphia. You'll probably remember this part. We're doing some weird local sports show in Philadelphia, and you two are right next to the host, and I'm just like out in fucking left field, and I'm now bored, and there's a boxing glove on display. And I just grabbed the boxing glove and I put it on, and you're like mid-sentence, and I fucking punch you in the shoulders. Because this is at the end. Like, we had gone bonkers.
yeah,
we
for
lost
sure.
our minds
Yeah, we
by
were
the end of
crazy
that.
by
We were
the end of that press
exhausted.
tour.
Talking.
Giddy.
yeah,
So
crazy.
insane.
And I just fucking blasted you in the shoulder with a boxing glove. You turn around and like, I'm wearing a boxing glove all of a sudden. They had to finally widen out and show who's the third guy in the
That's
room.
hilarious.
And then my other favorite part was...
I don't remember that, by the way. I don't remember.
Just
getting-
You don't remember that?
No, but I do think that was when they asked you about Family Guy, and you started doing because Family Guy was down.
Oh, yeah, we
I had
were
no
off the
idea
air.
you were on Family Guy.
Yeah.
Cut to it's still the longest running show in not The Simpsons,
Is
but
above it, but yeah, it's been on 25 years.
That's crazy.
That's the crazy.
What
I
a
remember,
gift.
by the way, this part of the story plays into the Family Guy. So we had a little gap between interviews, and we were all hungry, and we went to a Chili's that was in the parking lot of a mall in Philadelphia. And we get in the restaurant, and we're sitting at a booth looking out the window, and Seth goes, "Oh my God. This is where my mother used to drop me off for the bus that would take me to summer camp. And she drove such a piece of shit, I would always want her to drop me off like really far away from the bus, but it's a big open parking lot. It's hard to hide. And on this one occasion, she pulled into the lot and the car was engulfed in flames. It caught on fire in front of all these kids. He didn't want them to know.
And I'm on the bus, like, trying to make time with this cool girl. I'm like, hey, we're going to spend the weekend together. I'm like, what are you into?
Is that your mom's car on fire?
What? No, that's some poor kid. No way.
That is crazy.
No way. That's some,
It was
like...
also where he pitched Robot Chicken.
Yes.
And I was like, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
Well,
I had the-
Stop action TV show. What are you talking about?
Yes, and
Yeah.
because he has a
Wow.
studio and a huge.
Incredible.
But so back to Family Guy. So I don't know what it was 3 years ago. It was very public that the core actors had signed an incredible deal for an incredible amount of money per episode, and that they ordered 2 years right out of the gates. And I read this article, and I sent it to Seth, and I said, first of all, congratulations. I am so fucking proud of you. Also, I think you should go buy a brand new Cadillac and set it on fire in the mall in Philadelphia and just say, fuck y'all. I can burn this bitch.
That is so
You remember
funny.
that, Dax?
I do. I loved it. And I had to remind you, I just don't have that kind of impulse in my heart.
Chip on
How
your shoulder.
weird.
Yeah, that's
How
so
weird
strange.
of
I'm not
you.
thinking about any of the people in that city or neighborhood or that parking lot
so funny.
or that summer camp. I'm just
Did
doing...
you have a money thing? Because
No.
you
No,
didn't.
never.
No, because money, I don't know, man. I read a lot. I took psychedelics when I was 16.
Yeah.
And I really got through a lot of the things that most people take a much longer time to go through.
Yeah.
When I met
interesting.
Seth, I was walking into Paramount for something, and I see Seth Green pull in to the guard shack. And of course, I know Seth Green. He's famous and he's rich. And he pulls in, he's driving a Honda Civic. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing driving a Honda
Yeah.
Civic?
5-speed
But
killer.
Seth was like known for this. He drove a Honda Civic. We hung out a ton. You and I are fucking bros. We got back
Yeah.
from him without a pedal. We did not stop. And we go to he had a little apartment in the valley.
Yeah.
With all
Yep.
these toys on the wall.
And he built
Yeah.
a tree inside the place.
He never had any kind of flash at all.
But
No.
it's admirable
It
if
is.
you, especially, you're saying, with your mom and the car and the shoes. And I feel like most people would be compensating for that for a while if they had the means, which
Maybe.
you did.
But Seth
Drugs.
has real,
That's great.
real
Yeah.
true confidence and self-esteem.
that's
Like
awesome.
very enviable. True. When I say like self-conviction,
That's
like
awesome.
you know yourself and you're really
agree
not
with
trying to appease anyone. Yeah.
When you're this height with this face, like you're
The
gonna
cutest face?
figure out how you fit in.
Perfect bod.
Well, I don't know where you guys rank it, but it never got better. That was the great for me. I am so lucky that I got that experience with
Yeah.
you two guys.
Yeah, ditto.
It's one of these things too, where it's like, I think that experience was 9 months. Like, because I have so many memories about it.
How long was it?
3
It
months.
couldn't have been more than 3, right?
It
I
was
think we were there.
It was 3 full months. Yeah.
There's no doubt that that's the most fun I've ever had on a film. It's easily the best relationships I've ever made on a film that persevere. I mean, we don't see each other, but I love the two of you. I've always said that. And I feel like it's beloved, and it doesn't matter what that movie did financially. That's like sort of the highlight, one of the highlights of my life, without a doubt.
I told you guys when it was happening that what was happening was rare. Like I've worked on a lot of movies, especially location movies, stuff where you get the luxury of that summer camp vibe
Yeah.
where everybody is there. And I've done it at the smallest scale on like a shitty independent horror movie, and I've done it on that huge scale where the studios
Italian job.
where the studio's got like lobster and your craft services. You know what I mean? It's like there's an excessive version of it. It doesn't necessarily make it better. When it works, when everybody on it has something that they need to prove, and nobody's trying to prove the same thing when it actually is just working the way it's supposed to work. It is so rare for it to
also
function
fun.
like that.
It was just fun.
Yeah, it was.
You know, so fun.
It's fun.
Back to like looking at yourself and going like, I can't believe I hated how I looked. I would say additionally, that movie's not the work I've done that I'm proudest of. And that's the movie that would get traded last.
Right.
So it's like results versus experience. Like, it's not like I look at the results of that movie and I'm like, yeah, that's my finest moment. Not by far. I had so much to learn. But the last one I would trade, maybe Hit and Run, a movie I directed with Kristen. But other than that, like, that'd be the last on the list of things I would ever lose my memory of.
Yeah, I don't ever.
So
want
let me
to
ask you a
that.
question.
So
What did your
formative.
daughters think?
They loved it.
Did
Yeah.
they?
They loved
Why?
it. You know what's really great about the movie, and I think this went away in comedy, is like there are set pieces, one after another.
Right.
There's a bear chasing somebody, a bear carrying somebody. There's stakes, we're panicked. Then there's a motorcycle, you know, or RV, fucking ATV chase, and then like the physical comedy works in that movie like crazy. I think it's also funny just to let people know that we thought we were making Diner.
Right.
We were certain of it. We thought we were making a coming
you
of
could
age
see it as
diner
a-
and young adult,
Oh,
and we all
God.
saw it, and we were like, "I love Brill and I love Deline," but
my
we were
God.
all a little bummed when we came out of the first screening.
Well, because
it was
the
clearly for
storytelling
young.
is so efficient, and it's just like, here's what you need to know, and literally nothing else. And we had all done this scene with the dead kid's mom, and like got handed the box, and you know, like this was important for our friend, and we were all like in it as actors, like talking about, well, what was our life like when we were kids? Well, clearly we played Indiana Jones and like just trying to break it down psychologically to follow the thread of these characters. And so they told us early on, Brill was like, yeah, we're going to reshoot, so fuck the funeral scene. We're going to have you guys find the
Still one of the
box.
best scenes.
We're going to have you find the box in the tree house now. You'll discover it. Why is this mom? She just lost her son. Everything's sad. He's like, we got to get into the adventure. So we did those pickup shots, and then you see it. When you watch the movie, you can see, oh shit, nothing matters until we're on the water.
Yeah.
The truth is, they were right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
It was a movie for
Yeah, yeah.
12-year-olds,
Yes.
and that's why it worked. And it should have been a movie for
Yeah, yeah.
12-year-olds, and it didn't really matter that we thought we were making Diner in the Woods.
Yeah.
But our intent, our sincerity,
Yeah.
all of that is palpable. Even if you only catch like a moment of it, because we did all of the actual emotional work in the margins. When you watch these quick clips, there's no doubt from the audience that you feel the way you feel.
Yeah.
That we're going through what we're going through.
I was really, as much as I was hating my stuff, I love.
You still hate
you're
your stuff?
So
You still hate your stuff? Even now?
in that movie.
Right.
Yeah,
Really,
not
you do?
other stuff. There's stuff I think I'm good in. It's not like
in
I'm
the-
deranged.
Really? You watched the
I
movie?
can just see how nervous I am and not how hard I'm trying. I can see how hard I'm trying. Yeah, but fuck that. We already talked about me. I
But
was
that
watching
feels
it
like-
going like I was aware of it at the time, but you're really, really, really great in it. You're really great, Matt. And
I want to do this podcast every week.
It held up.
You can re-listen.
Like it's still like actually I'm expecting all of us to have a little egg on our face. And I'm watching it, I'm like, you did as good as a person could do in that role. You were really great.
Thank you.
You didn't rewatch it, did you?
I didn't. No, I asked my son
I
who's
did.
16. I
I
was like,
did.
hey, you want to
And I
watch the
loved
movie?
you in
He's
it,
like,
yeah.
I've seen it like 6 times.
Oh.
Yeah. My kids have all watched it. And I think that it's really fun because your kids are young.
Yeah.
You know, they're going through the journey of what it's like to have parents that are famous. And so you're like, at some point, you don't even register. And at some point, all the kids in your life register. So you start to register in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Yeah.
as they get older, there's a deeper appreciation for what you do. Right.
Yeah.
And we're now at that point where my kids are going back and watching SLC Punk and watching these sort of like these little, you know, good
Yeah.
or bad movies in my past. And they're appreciating it more.
It's kind of a cool
Yeah.
gift. I was never able to go watch my parents
No,
as
yeah.
young people and recognize, oh, they were people and they were young once. It is kind of a neat thing that
Yeah.
our kids have the option to do if they wanted.
Yeah.
All that to say, I love you guys so much. The love is never dissipated at all. It
It's
really
the
was
best.
real.
When I see you in public, I'll just hug the fuck out of you.
yeah.
I'll declare on a
No, I love
microphone,
that.
I love you. Hey, Matt,
I do.
I see you.
I love you.
Yeah, I love you too.
I love you both. I love
Dax,
both of you.
Dax,
Yes.
I have seen you from the moment we met.
Oh.
And I tell you with all sincerity, I love you.
Well, I feel it. You guys, thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
when
really
you
fun.
called, I was like, oh, how fun.
Let's do the 40. Let's do the
We won't
30 and the
remember.
40.
I don't remember anything now.
I know. We'll hear how the stories change. The same stories, how they change in
Yeah,
10
yeah.
years.
The bear will now be 2 bears and a
Exactly.
cheetah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I love you guys. Thank you.
I
This
love
was
you.
so
Love you
fun.
back.
Yeah, it was good, bud.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Stick around for the fact check. Because they're human, they make lots of mistakes.
Because Lillard wore a hat.
And it made you want to wear a hat?
I was like, oh, yeah, I guess you can wear a hat in here.
He makes the rules.
Because I can't wear a hat upstairs because of headphones.
Headphones. Yeah, it's like we can do so much stuff. We can wear hair in all kinds of ways.
Uh-huh.
It's almost too much freedom.
Too many options.
Yeah. Is that your shirt on the ground?
Yeah. I didn't know where to put it. Where would you have put it? Not on top of the trash can. That'd be crazy.
What kind of shirt?
Can't be in frame.
What is it?
It's my guinea tee, my tank top.
You call that a guinea tee?
Yeah.
Is that what it's
It's
called? or did
preferable
you-
to wife beater, right? People don't love wife beater.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So it's rebranded as guinea tea?
Although I hope they know wife beater's not like celebrating wife beating. It's just that it seems like an inordinate amount of men who did that were wearing those tops.
It's not good for that. The guinea
For
tea.
Hanes, no.
Yeah, for Hanes.
No. But it needs a specific, to call it a tank top's not totally accurate
I agree.
either, right?
I
It's
agree.
so specific.
David Letterman's dinner table.
Yes. I wouldn't go that far.
This is our first garage fact check.
Previously Black Mold Paradise.
Yeah, R.I.P. I can't believe this was that place.
I can't either. I mean, I know intellectually my drum set was right there. And yeah, I can't even really. There was a mirror there, 2 shitty air conditioners, water everywhere, mold growing up.
Sure, rats.
Yeah, it's quite a transformation.
It is. It is.
Impressive.
It had rats and now it has mice.
I don't think there's anything anymore because I put out a lot of.
No, I'm a mouse.
Oh, right. Sorry.
God.
I missed that. Where are you coming from?
The
Oh, the dermatologist. How'd that go?
Went well.
It did.
Went
Does it
fine.
hurt when they give you that shot, or you're used to it?
I'm just so tough.
High tolerance.
Yeah.
High pain tolerance.
For people who don't know what we're talking about, you'll have to listen to next week's fact
Next
check.
month's fact check. Check out the December 15th fact
That's
check
right.
for the Easter egg. I wish you were watching Chimp Crazy, simply because the woman in it, I applaud her on some level. She lets them film her during all of her procedures. Oh. And she's always in there getting lip filler or spray tanning, traditional sun tanning booth. But she's in this massage chair at one point, and she has so much numbing cream all over her lips because they're going to inject it. And it just looks like there's icing on her lips, but it's caking up in corners. And then it's falling off. And then she grabs her water and she's like, they tell you not to drink when you have this on you. And then she glug, 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 glug. And clearly there's numbing cream just going
Getting
down
in
her
system.
throat.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah. What's weird is, we're full of contradictions as we talk about on here all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm for, I am pro. Obviously, I have chin filler. I have some Botox now.
Yeah. Oh, was that new too? Or you?
Well,
how
that was
long-
on the same day.
Oh, okay. Was that your first round of talks?
That's the first time I've ever done anything.
Your face is very alive still. In fact, just now you raised your eyebrows and I was like, okay, well, good. We have still a lot of mobility.
He gave me I think it's phrased as the
Placebo?
actor. No, I think it's pronounced placebo. The actor's dose or something. And so it is, you still can have movement and emotion.
Minimal movement.
But
reduced
have you seen
emotions.
my befores and afters?
No.
I'll show you.
Do you think they're dramatic?
Yes, I
Really?
can tell. I mean, yeah, they are.
Okay.
Let's see. I'll show
Because
you.
I have zero ethical issue with Botox. I could care less if
No,
people use
me
it. But I do miss the movement of some people's faces.
Oh, sure. Well, this is the contradiction. I am for people doing whatever they want to make themselves happy when they look in the mirror.
Yeah.
But I also do have some sadness. The reason I feel like I have to say this is now we're on camera and people saw me go
Oh yeah.
when you were talking about this lady. And it's because I feel sad that she's obviously so uncomfortable with the way she looks
Oh yeah.
that she has to go,
She's also
medically
owning like a
change it.
champ too. Like there's a lot
I
happening.
know.
with
It makes
her.
me
She has an
sad.
enormous wig on. It's like the biggest wig.
Everything's a costume and a shield and an armor.
Yes.
And that's sad. Okay, here they are.
Oh my goodness, they prepared like a whole file for you.
Yeah, they did.
Oh my god, I love that they made you go like that.
Yeah, you have to make very specific expressions so they can
Before
tell.
I get into trouble, just what side's what?
You'll be,
Okay.
I'm not even
You're
I'm
sure
not
you're
gonna tell
confident
you.
I'll know.
Uh-huh. If you don't know, that will be fascinating. And we
You
need
know what's really
new
cute though
glasses.
is it looks to me, first of all, you look 8 years old for whatever reason. This makes you look very young and tiny. Okay, yeah. What's cute though is that you have a little tiny smile on the right because like it's
That's
post.
because my new face.
Yes, exactly. So it's like they're not apples to apples because you're like,
No, I think part of it is there is a slight upturn. That's part of what they did.
okay.
Do you
I
see-
see.
Do you see looking at me right now that my mouth is a little upturned?
Yeah, but you just turned it up a little
Okay,
bit.
fine, I'll be
This is
regular.
my favorite photo.
I know. I know. They really make you do some
That was the
faces.
direction in this photo. You've just smelled something very pungent. Horse shit. Like, because
Sticky
even
salmon.
dog poop wouldn't be. Horse shit can sometimes be sharp.
Yes.
Like when you're in Central Park, you're like, oh, it's like it
gets you. It's like,
it singes your nostrils. Yeah. Okay. In this one, I'm seeing the Botox difference. That's what we're
See?
seeing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You still scrunch your face. Again, like you're just happier in
No,
this one
that's
because you're.
my new
I
face.
know because you're happier.
no, I'm not happy. That's how my resting face is now. It's like this.
It is funny. Side by side, I can see a difference.
Yeah.
Just if I just bump into you, I'm not going like, what have you done?
Yeah. You know what's sweet though?
You got to post these now.
Oh God. You know what's sweet is when my parents were in town and we had dinner one night. Then the next day, I told them that I had chin filler. I forgot to tell them.
Yeah.
I
Did you have any reservation about telling them? Like, did you feel like they were going to be disappointed? Like,
No.
hey, we made you. Perfect.
I mean, I didn't really care.
Yeah. Sure.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
They're disappointed. But I was like, oh, I got this. And my dad said, I knew something was different about your face.
He did.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't know what it was, but I could tell something was different.
Really?
Yeah. And I thought that was sweet, actually.
It is.
He knows his baby.
Yeah. We definitely notice like sometimes night to night.
Little changes.
Yeah. Lincoln will wake up and I'm like, oh my God, you look just a little bit different this morning.
Yeah. That's sweet.
It's really weird.
It's cute.
Speaking of looking different.
Without a paddle.
Without a paddle.
Ding, ding, ding. Okay, well, now's the time that I guess I didn't know when I was going to do this, but I have a surprise for you.
Oh my God, I love surprises.
So I have a message for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Do I have to guess who the sender is? Or it'll be
Well, that's what
so
I'm wondering.
obvious?
Should I tell you now or do you want to wait? Do you want it to become
You build it.
let's build it.
Build
Okay.
it.
If you build it,
I'll come.
you'll
I mean, they'll come, but it's singular. I'll come. But C-O-M-E.
No, I thought it was if you build it.
They will come.
Oh, I thought it was it will come.
No, they. Oh. The people come watch the baseball game.
Oh, I've never
Do you
seen
even
it.
know what it's from?
Yeah, it's from Field of Dreams,
Field of
but I've
Dreams.
never seen
Yeah, he builds a baseball field in the corn.
But I thought it was like a metaphor, like if you build it, it will come. Like your dreams will come true. The Field of Dreams.
Yeah, sure. That's an easy
Yeah. I made some
mistake.
assumptions.
Misunderstanding.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
20 years ago, we did an adventure movie. In it, we did all the adventure things: rivers, rapids, guns, woods, bears, chases, fires, falls from great heights, ropes. But I swear the biggest, best adventure was getting to know old Dax, aka Dan Shepard. Shooting the shit with you was just as fun and exciting as shooting the rapids. By the way, I went canoeing a few weeks ago on a placid lake, and it is exhausting and hard and boring. It really made me realize how good you got at it. We were also fearless. We flew a deadly 500-pound grizzly bear to New Zealand to stand 5 feet from you. Matt was close, but you, Dax, were like 2 feet away from certain mauling. This should have been and would have been all plates and CG if we did it now or if I was smarter, but we just did it. You and the bear in the same frame. And only a medium-built, jet-lagged wrangler with the club stuffed in his pants to protect you. So dumb, but fun. You risked your life in pursuit of a moderately funny scene. Actually, I think it was very funny.
Moderately funny.
There was near death on and off the set throughout this movie, wild kiwi water, God stuntman going straight down impossible rapids, and our production designer going straight down a possible staircase, but we had fun. I actually hate when actors, directors go on and on about how we had so much fun shooting a movie like that matters.
Like that matters.
Oh, I'm so glad those rich, good-looking pamper people had fun.
I would hate for them to have been uncomfortable during that.
And I'm not sure I had fun making the movie, but I sure had fun getting to know you, Dax, and Seth, a.k.a. Squire, and Matt, a.k.a. Matt. And I know I had fun watching you meet and work with Burt Reynolds. That was cool. Glad we made it out. None of your post-paddle journey and success is surprising. It just confirms what I thought 20 years ago. You are so talented, engaging, whip-smart, funny, and fucking awesome. Love you, Brill.
What a sweet message.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, what a sweet message.
You like that?
He's such a good writer.
Oh, yeah, that was fantastic.
He's such a good writer. He has some emails that I have thought I want to print this out and somehow keep this around in my life.
Yeah.
What a lovely message. I would say I often give Ashton so much credit for having
discovered you.
saved me from the swamp I was drowning in. But equally so Brill, because it was then quite another leap to take a guy from a reality show and think he should be the lead of your movie.
Yeah.
And he fought very hard to both get me in and then also was so good at getting things out of me. And yeah.
Yeah, change your life.
What a lovely thing. How did you get a hold of him?
I texted him.
Oh, did you have his number already?
No, I asked Kristen first.
Oh. I hope he doesn't feel hurt he wasn't here. No, I just got codependent.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh.
4 people's too many. To be,
There is 4 people.
I mean, regaling.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 was
it's hard.
just barely juggled 3.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. That's more of a panel situation. I did want his voice involved.
Yeah. Oh, what a sweet message. I hope you'll forward that to me.
Of course.
Bro was so funny. He had so many bits. He was often robot director.
What's that mean?
So you would go up to him and you were very sincere and I'd go like, Brill, if I walk over there and I'm supposed to land on that thing, I can't walk around the canoe because I'll leave frame, right? And he'll go, beep, beep, boop, 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 beep, beep, beep. Boop. Baby robot director. He wasn't just a robot, he was a baby robot director.
Oh, cute.
And then I'd go, oh no, baby robot director, beep, beep, boop, boop. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of have to guess, beep, beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, beep. And he would never give you an answer, and you just had to figure out what you had to do.
That's very funny.
So baby robot director was sometimes directing.
Well, that's a ding, 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 because now in our world, we have a baby director and a robot.
And you're right. And a robot
Wow.
who wants to be a boy. A real boy.
It
Yeah.
all comes full circle.
What was this other?
Full circle.
Yeah, that was a blast.
Yeah, it really seemed like it. I'm glad you
Yeah.
had that experience.
Yeah.
What else?
I just
is
had
it?
breakfast with Nate.
Yeah. How was it?
It was so fun. It's my favorite medicine.
Yeah.
We were laughing so hard at the top of our lungs in Cafe 101.
Fun.
People were I even saw some people were looking at us like, okay, it's a little early
a
for
little
that
much.
level of screaming, laughing.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're laughing so hard. I don't know if you have this. I've passed. I'm out of air, so I'm no longer making a noise, but I still have to express and I clap.
Oh.
Yeah, like a
I
monkey
could
with the
see
cymbals.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was moments where I was like laid back in the booth, and I was like, and I was just clapping like a seal.
What?
I think people
what
are-
caused that? Is there anything you
Oh.
can share, or is
Boy,
it?
one's tricky. I guess if I could leave out it's all about deliveries with Nate. And so we were talking about this certain person, and he's like, yeah, and I'm like, wow, so that's great that she ended up with him. He's like, yeah, you know, and he loves her, and I go, yeah, he loves her, he loves her. And then we just built on that for a very long time.
You love to build.
This is a reality. We know people, they end up together, that they were lonely, they found a partner and they're doing it together.
Yeah.
Was it the storybook love? You know, I don't know. You know, they love it. They love
That's
it.
okay. Not.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. But of course, you're supposed to go like, oh yeah, he just loves her. He loves her. They're good. They're great.
They're
He's
a
a
good
good
couple.
husband. You know, you start just kind of.
They're good together.
They're really good together. You start keep deviating away from.
Yeah.
You realize that might have been not the full truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
He's medicine.
That's good.
Is that you and Kelly?
I mean, she's definitely medicinal, but I wouldn't say.
Who sends you into a laugh riot? Jess?
Jess.
Yeah. That's the laugh medicine.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
You have a good. Our breakfast was 1 hour, and 45 minutes of it was laughing really, really hard.
Yeah, it's
and
fun.
It was like, better than any drug.
But I love laughing, but in certain relationships, I don't have as much of that, but they have other things.
Right.
Like, I don't think one's better than the other. I
Right.
love to laugh, but I get.
It's not your number one priority.
I think I used to think that.
Yes, when you were an aspiring comedian and at the UCB.
Yeah, but also even when I think about partnership, I do think
You used to think like, my husband would have to be hilarious.
have to be so funny.
Yeah.
I still kind of think that. I don't think I could be with someone who does not have a sense of humor.
Right. I bet you would say like the person has to get humor.
Yes.
It's not necessarily that they have to deliver it, but it would suck watching TV with somebody and they're not getting
Laughing.
what's so funny about something.
I'm wrong.
Okay, you're taking
Yeah, I'm
it back.
taking
You're
it
walking
all
it back.
I'm taking it all back.
Listen,
'cause
he loves her. They're committed, and he's a good husband.
he's a good companion.
Yeah.
No, now I'm remembering that when I had gone on a few dates with this person,
Yeah.
and he was great.
Totally fine.
Like he was
You loved
great. I did not love him. He was great, and I couldn't really figure out what was happening with me. I mean, of course, I was like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? This person's like great and nice, and why don't I like him? And when I was in therapy, we had talked a lot about it, and she was
Because this
like,
is the one she gave you permission to.
well, she was like, well, tell me about the dates.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the dates, and she was like, are you laughing?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. It's not serious, but it's not funny.
Mhm.
And she was like, yeah, well, maybe you need funny. And I was like,
Right.
yeah, I think it's true that every relationship I do prioritize does have a fair amount of laughter.
Yes, and I think maybe more specifically, you don't need someone who's funny, who like their outward presenting identity is a funny person. Like that's not Bree's presenting first foot forward.
Yeah.
But she and I had so many inside jokes. Like we
Yeah.
did live for inside jokes, and she was super funny to me.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I think you want that thing, whether they're out like whether the person at a party making jokes.
No. It
Right.
doesn't need to be, they don't need to be a comedian.
Right. But you need to have a lot of playful
Banter and
Yes. It was a ding 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 because I also had it last night because Josh Lawson came over
oh, he did.
because he's back in town working. He has my number. Oh my God, Josh Lawson makes me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where we saunaed, then we're in the hot tub together. Then we're eating dinner with the girls. And he was making the girls laugh, which is really funny because there's
Yeah.
not a lot of adults that make them laugh really hard other than me, which is my main hobby in life.
Sure.
But he was really making them laugh. And then Delta at one point, and it wasn't even like presentational. It was just to me, it was an aside. And she goes, Lincoln and I always were afraid if you and mom ever got divorced or you guys married different people or if you married another woman. And I think the person we should be afraid of is him.
Wow.
That I would leave mommy for Josh Lawson.
Oh, that you would.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and Lincoln goes, my dad doesn't laugh this much normal around people to him.
Well,
Yeah.
that's Wow, that's a high compliment to Josh.
And well, it is, and he deserves it. But then I got defensive of Aaron.
I was about
So,
to say,
what
that's-
about Aaron?
it's literally
She's like, well,
not
yes,
true.
Aaron.
Yeah,
yes,
it's not true.
It's
No
factually
one laughs more
inaccurate,
than-
but it was a very sweet compliment to give Josh.
That is sweet. Yeah.
He asked about you. I said,
I'd like to see him
Yeah.
while he's here. Anyway, what else has been going on?
the anxiety still, again, listen to December 15th episode. I discussed I've been waking up in the middle of the night with about an hour of anxiety.
December 15th.
Remember our fact check from 6 weeks.
Oh, oh, okay. 6 weeks in the future?
Yeah. Last night woke up and I had an image of what my face looked like in the close-up. And I was like, oh my God, how do I fix this? Like I had some very specific problem areas I was seeing. I'm like, what am I going to do? I got to get some lighting underneath. I got to get a nose reduction.
Oh my God.
Thinking of all these things. I think maybe we're just too tight. And then I'm thinking of other people's shows. I'm like, are they as tight as we are? But this goes on for, 75, 80 minutes. I go back to sleep for about 45 minutes. Then I wake up for the morning at 6. And then I go look at the footage that I had watched right before I went to bed.
Yeah.
The image I had in my head is not what it is. I'm almost 50, Monica.
I know, but you're still a person, and we're all insecure.
But it just goes to show like how lopsided and irrational and non-factual my midnight ruminations are. They're so...
Can you tell yourself? Can you write a piece of paper on your nightstand that says whatever you're thinking right now, you will not be thinking in the morning?
I said to myself last night, I said, this is going to be a very tiny problem in the morning. You already know that.
Yeah.
It might not even be a problem in the morning.
Did it work?
No, it's just one little detail of something from the day that
Yeah.
I can't
Focus
stop.
on.
Just totally powerless. You don't do much of that version
Yeah,
of
I do a
insomnia.
lot of rumination.
But do you wake up in the middle of the night and have it?
No, I don't wake
It's before
up.
bed.
It's to get to sleep.
Right.
So it often takes me a very long time to get to sleep because of all the chatter.
Yeah, I take a lot of sleep aids. And so, I take melatonin and I take trazodone and occasionally a Aleve PM. So 3. No one's going to like that.
No one's gonna like that.
No one's going to like it. There's going to be a lot of sleep experts that are saying it's not good.
Yeah.
Regardless, that I can fall asleep pretty
Yeah.
nicely with my book on tape. I can fall asleep within 10 minutes on that cocktail. And I've thought about this now. What happens is clearly those all wear off around 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I need a time release of all those things, or I need an intravenous setup of this that trickles it all night.
I think you need to learn how, and as do I, to turn off our brain before bed,
Yeah.
sleep through the night,
Mm-hmm.
1 p max,
Yeah.
and then wake up rested.
That would be the dream, but
That's ideal.
and I used to be so angry at myself and hard on myself that I can't figure it out, right? Or that I can't do all the things you just listed.
Sure.
But I have been a little bit relieved by the fact that one of my children is identical.
Mm-hmm.
She clearly is just genetically this, and also don't forget on the 23andMe, it did say you're someone who would struggle with sleep. Remember that was one of the
I don't remember
weird things
that.
that comes up. And I was like, well, that's kind of a relief. I'm predisposed to be this way. But seeing it in her stopped my self-flagellation a little bit. I'm like, yeah, you can be born as not a great sleeper.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be either or. It can be you have some sort of predisposition to
Right,
not
you
being
do
able to
as
sleep or
good as you-
anxiety, but you can do things to counter that.
Yes, and if you have a range, you could be on the best end of the range.
Mm-hmm.
I concede to that for sure. So I'm in the cycle of mass caffeine all day long to compensate for the
Yeah.
shitty night's sleep. Definitely that's part of the problem. There's no question.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
The sleep aids are wearing off. Also, the caffeine's still in my system. It's
Yeah.
it's fighting.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's been this has been interesting for me because I decided a while ago that once we started in the new space and things were ramping up, that I would get really healthy.
Okay, which is an interesting time to choose to do that.
Well,
Because it's going to be
makes
harder
sense.
anyways.
Well, that's why. It's
Okay.
this is going to require a lot more of me.
You mean you started before?
No.
Getting help. Oh,
I
you're
get-
gonna- on day one of, okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because I didn't want to waste those days. I want to be unhealthy until I have to be healthy.
That makes sense. Like if you know you're going to get pregnant.
Yeah, or
and
you
have
know
a
you're going to
child
get
coming.
off of drinking. You know you're going to become sober. You go
Watch
all
out.
out.
Yeah.
So I was like, this whole thing, this new life of ours is going to require a lot more of me. And it's going to require more energy and more alertness.
Stamina.
Speaking of, I can't believe I didn't start with this. On this episode,
Yeah.
I look so bad.
Wait.
I look so tired. And guess what? I am so tired. It was my birthday the night before. It was Sunday we
It was a
recorded
weekend
that.
record. Yeah.
I had 3 martinis, as we've already discussed.
Over the course of 6 hours, very responsible.
1 is not enough. 3 is too many. I had 3.
Yeah.
And you can see it. You can see it.
Well, maybe do you think you can see it?
I'm not going to read the comments, but I have a
Okay.
feeling people will be able to see it. And that's fine.
Are you tired is an incredible question to ask people. You know, that's one that's like somehow socially acceptable, but it's so.
Well, this is our whole, did you get a good night's sleep last night? It's the
But
same
that was different.
thing.
I defend that because that was a mood. You
you
look
think,
so
are you-
tired is
Oh.
like people feel like they're allowed to say that to other people. Like, oh, you look so tired. Like
Yeah.
it's somehow compassionate.
I know.
But you go like, you mean I look like shit, right? Is that
No. That's my mom's go-to.
she says you look tired?
All the time.
Ah.
Every time I'm home, she's like, you look tired. I'm like, okay, I am.
That might be because she just wants you to go take a nappy. Because she wants her baby sleeping in her house.
Yeah, you
That
should
could have a
you should
different-
sleep in our house every night, and I'll
Yeah.
make you sandwiches.
You're too tired to go home.
So I decided to get healthy,
Yeah.
which means, well, I'm gonna start working out strength training. I told you that. I am not starting that for another week.
Okay, kicking that down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start strength training. I'm going to drink less.
What does that look like? That's how hard.
I know it's a very nebulous thing
Yeah.
to say, drink less.
I guess the easiest would be less days a week,
Yeah.
right? I
I
don't
know,
know
but-
how much you're going to be able to like fine tune
The amount.
the amount when you're doing it.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
Because a different version of Monica will be making decisions than the one we're sitting here with right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So less days, I guess.
Yeah.
And
And what would be that? What's the number that's not terrifying? Weekends we got to drink. Friday and Saturday it's
Right.
on.
Ideally, I'm not drinking Monday through
'Cause
Thursday.
Sunday we got to.
I know, but okay, now with my new strength training,
Yeah.
I have to wake up early to go do that. That's on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
And then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I want to do my walks. This is part of my new health plan.
Yeah. Regime.
Yeah.
Protocol.
But these are all things happening in the morning, so I have to be able to wake up.
Yeah. What about Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? That's 4 days a week.
You think I can on Wednesday?
Yeah. I think you're going to need to drink once during the week.
I know.
What I think would be most achievable would be start there. That's still the majority of the days you're drinking.
God, and you know what's crazy?
That's scary.
Sounds like nothing.
Yeah, of course. So the majority of the days you're drinking, so that's great. You're drinking more than you're not.
Sure.
That's the dream. And
Yeah.
then once you're doing that for a minute,
Yeah.
I think you lob Sunday off.
I know.
Because then you give yourself the best shot for starting the week on Monday.
Yeah, I know.
That would be
But what about or Sunday brunch? No, that's bad.
I mean, then your whole day. I don't know.
Yeah.
You tell me.
God, it's
I mean, you're like, what about
it's
morning
upsetting
drinking
to
on
even-
Sundays? What about you only drink in the
brunch-
morning?
Oh God, do you think brunch drinking is akin to like shower drinking?
Tell me about shower drinking.
Like, didn't you used to drink beer in the shower?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, to me that's so extreme.
Right.
But to you, brunch is extreme.
Well, no. I'm in no position to be judgmental of Sunny. What I think
don't
is
think you're
funny,
being judgmental.
though,
I'm just asking your
I
opinion.
do, I do think we label things, and we're pretending that it's not what it really is, which is like, yeah, I drink in the morning on Sunday, but I call it brunch drinking, which is fun and playful.
Yeah.
In an event and blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
an event.
But it's drinking when you wake up in the morning on Sundays, which I don't care about.
But
And then there was different rules when you'd go camping, and which I loved. Which is like when you go camping, you start drinking as soon as you wake up, and it's part of it.
I know.
It's fun.
I know.
You have some little bite to eat, and then you crack open a beer, and then you drink all day.
And that's bad.
Well, I don't.
I know you're not saying it's objectively bad. You're
Right.
not judging, but we are just talking about my health routine.
Well, that's why
We're
I'm
talking
saying,
about me.
Well, I have an opinion about if you're going to do it, should you do it? And I do think ideally it'd be Friday, Saturday, and Wednesday.
Okay. But Wednesday seems hard because of the Thursday strength training. So I actually think maybe then it should be Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because then you have 2 days off and then 2 days off. Wednesday, Thursday.
Right.
That's great.
Okay, so Tuesday, I'm going to get hammered.
Yeah, get
Whatever we
shit
record on
cocked.
Wednesdays, everyone will be able to tell. They'll be like, is this Wednesday recording?
Yes. I also have a bit of self-consciousness and insecurity that people are very worried we're never going to stop talking about video. But I will rest assured we're going to. So if you're just listening, as so many people will still do, they're like, oh my God, now when I'm listening, I got to hear them talk about video all the time. And I just want to say that I'm aware of it, and we're just processing our new experience.
Yeah.
Do you have that fear or no?
I guess I do, but I've sort of like
It's what's really
we've
going
done
on in our
this.
life.
This is a new thing.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah, it's
like,
happening.
if we're gonna do that,
It's also taking up a lot of our brain space right now.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, actually, the whole reason I brought this up is because I want to be healthier. Blah blah blah. This week is a huge week for us. We're working a ton.
Yeah.
And I've been working till between 9:30 and 10 since Sunday.
Yes.
And I've been waking up early because we've been starting early, but also
And you've had appointments throughout all
that's
this.
why. Then I've had appointments and I've had to throw them at like the early top of day because there's no other time.
Yeah.
So I've been waking up early, but I'm tired at night now.
Oh, so you're falling asleep.
I am falling asleep, and that's interesting.
It is, and it's how I a little bit counteract my panic, because I have to believe the same thing I tell Lincoln, which is like, your body will take care of itself. So how many hours did you get last night, do you think? You know, it just occurred to me. People have heard about your eye roll forever,
Yeah.
and they could see it now.
I know. We talked about that.
When?
We talked about it upstairs when
Okay.
we were leading up to this, that people are going to start seeing it.
Oh, can you do one on command?
I could, but
Will you do one for me?
well, why don't you instigate one?
Okay, I will.
Okay.
You spent way too much on those pants.
Okay, I think you need to drop it in at a time where I'm not expecting it.
Okay, so later. At
Yeah,
some point.
later.
Okay,
Okay.
Easter egg.
Okay.
All right. Foreshadowing.
Even though you also just said that you don't want to make this about video, and now you've
I know,
made it completely
but then it just
about
occurred
video.
to me that you have a very legendary eye roll that
I
we've
do.
talked about a million times.
I'm sure people have seen it by now.
How?
I'm sure I've done it.
You think
can't
I
help
don't
it.
think you've eye rolled.
I'm sure I have.
Not your nuclear option eye roll that
Well-
you gave the gal in the parking lot at the preschool.
There are levels to the eye
yeah.
roll, but you know that in theater, in my
Uh-huh.
9th grade theater class, my teacher told me, like, you have an eye roll. It's so distinct,
Oh, really?
and basically, like, get rid of it.
Get rid of, because you would do it in scenes. It's how you would express.
I think so.
That
It
emotion.
it was coming out so involuntarily
Yeah.
that I didn't. It's a tick. Really, it's a tick. I don't even know if it's that indicative of my feelings.
Well, it is in the parking lot of the preschool.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Well, she was such a bitch.
Right. And when people would walk away from the counter at Soul Cycle, certainly.
They were such a bitch.
They were such a bitch and a dick too.
Yeah, they were. I don't do it at niceness.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Generally, it's a fuck you.
I think it's warranted,
Of course, right. Yeah.
personally.
I don't know how I'm going to earn it, but I guess I'll try.
You'll figure it out.
How much hours did you sleep last night?
I think I got like 7.5 to 8 hours.
That's solid.
It is, except I work best at 9.
Yeah, and do you think, one of my reservations about these sleep monitoring devices is that you wake up and you get a score. And I just don't know how you have a good day if your score is like 40, or you go to the gym because then you're like, well, probably my body doesn't want me to because I didn't get any sleep. I just don't know how that doesn't become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I agree. And that's the Easter egg for Thursday's episode, because we discussed that on Thursday's episode. And I think like people get victim-y about when they wear these things. They're like, oh, I'm just like really bad at sleeping.
Yeah. But the thing I was going to ask you about is it similarly learning recently, this is making the rounds, that women need more sleep than men.
No.
That didn't have any impact on you.
Because
I could imagine hearing that and being like, well, Jesus Christ, now I need 10 hours of sleep.
No.
I felt bad when I wasn't getting 8, and now I've learned my sex dictates I should be getting 10.
All it did was confirm what I knew.
That you need more sleep.
That I need at least 9 hours.
Okay, right.
I can sleep till 11.
Right. That's so enviable.
I can just go and go and go.
Yeah.
I
never wake up.
think,
That'd be a title of your biography.
though I do, no, remember it's coffee makes me sleepy. But I do think part of that is because I don't sleep restfully.
Right.
So I need a little bit longer of time to make up for not sleeping very well.
Yes.
So if I start sleeping better, I think
Yeah.
I will need less.
Yeah, that's a good theory. I remember being able to sleep late, and I felt like my best sleep came between like 6 a.m. and 10 a.m.
I know.
Like I'm done wrestling with all my demons. I've processed all my anxieties, and now I'm just like, oh yeah,
Now you can relax.
nothing. I'm not stressed anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last thought.
'Kay.
Maybe there'll be a technology, probably not, but the dream for me would be I could hook my brain up to a machine an hour before sleep, and it would accelerate all that processing that I know has to happen. Right? And then that would just be done. That's the problem.
And then you could actually sleep.
Update, I didn't take my
Antidepressant?
acutely
That's
last night.
not an update.
But I think
that's
I'm gonna,
an Easter egg.
I know, for January 6th.
January 18th.
It's be my birthday episode.
I'm kind of glad to hear that. Not.
I
people
regretted
are
it
gonna
in the
like,
middle of the night.
I know.
I was like,
know.
fuck, I just forgot. I didn't decide not to. I just forgot.
Okay.
So maybe I will in a couple
Okay.
hours.
There's a
Brunch SSRI.
there's. Well, that's the other piece. As much as I love drink. I love to drink.
Yeah, drinking.
That sentence is bad, but I have to be able to say it if it's true, and it is.
But also, of course you love to drink. It's fun.
I know. It just sounds.
You don't like how it sounds.
I don't think it
You don't
sounds
like the
good.
branding.
When you say the truths,
Yeah.
you have to hear the truths,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's a hard thing for all of us, I think. But I think it's important when you're struggling with anything or you're just like evaluating anything.
Yeah.
That's why people have pros and cons lists so they can literally see
Yeah.
in front of them the realities.
But let me ask you this, because that might also be more about the implicit shaming and judgment. Let me just say this. No one feels guilty saying, I love pizza. And then you go, of course you love pizza. Everyone loves pizza. And as I'm saying, like, yeah, of course you love drinking.
Yeah.
It's really great. If I transition from not judgmental to enabler,
Maybe.
has that happened?
No, I love pizza. I love pizza is one thing, but I love pizza so much that I eat pizza every day.
Or that you're like,
I'm thinking
I
about
got to go down to
pizza.
eating pizza 4 days a week and I'm nervous about it.
Yeah, that's
And can I have pizza for breakfast?
And the answer is yes, you can have pizza for
Cold,
breakfast.
yeah, cold.
Cold pizza's great, and hot pizza's great.
I don't like cold pizza, but yeah.
I mean,
People love
neither,
it cold
but
in the
I don't really
morning.
understand that, but that's fine.
Pizza in the shower.
Pizza in the shower,
That's a red flag.
you think? But what if you're in a hurry?
That's efficient. But if in general you have to have a piece of pizza
I
while
know
you're showering,
this is, and then we're doing this thing where it's like I'm fine because I don't have that weird shower thing.
equivocating,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
justifying.
People, I think, you know, when you have
You can't
passed
fool
your
yourself.
limits and when you haven't.
Yeah.
I think people, if you really are doing an evaluation of yourself, you
Does the question, the one that I think is most salient is like, does it take more than it gives?
yeah.
I think that's the kind of quintessential question. Now, whether people can evaluate that and answer that honestly is tricky.
That's all. I think that's actually hard to evaluate.
It is. Because when you want to do it, the positives are overweighted. And all you can think about is losing those positives. And then you're not maybe remembering every little part of it that's not beneficial or
Ideal.
Yeah, the taking part.
Do you think they'll ever invent a drug that after you drink, if you take it, there's like no no hangover at all?
Oh, right. I mean, it seems feasible. This is my $1 billion pharmaceutical I have invented that I don't know how to bring to market.
Okay.
Which is the caffeine one. You take a pill at 9 p.m. and it metabolizes every caffeine molecule in your body. So there's none left.
Yeah, that's great.
That would be incredible. If people could bang coffee like up
To
till
get through their
9
day.
o'clock after dinner. Like I would love to drink coffee after dinner.
Me too. I always wonder, at Italian restaurants, they always offer coffee at the end, and I don't understand how people are doing this.
But when you're in Italy, have you done it? Because I cannot sleep if I drink coffee after 4. And when I'm in Italy, I will have a cappuccino after a meal, and then I go right to bed. And I'm like, oh, this is all psychosomatic. And then I eat pasta the whole time I'm there, and I don't have any gluten issues. And then they go, oh, it's because it's heirloom gluten and there's heirloom flour and there's no gluten in it. I'm like, maybe it's just all psychosomatic. Wow. But yeah, they got a whole. That's the power of culture.
It
They're
really
like,
is.
yeah, we drink a caffeine at night, no problem. Well, sometimes the baby get a diarrhea from a caffeine, but in general, it's a nothing.
Oh, I thought you might get an eye roll, but I don't think you did.
I know, that was a
close.
good-
That was
yeah.
a good move to try to get one.
It was.
But okay.
I always want to get in your pants.
my
so hard.
God.
Where are your pants? I can't
no,
find them.
that's
I never did know where pants begin and end on a woman.
no.
Good to see your throw up face and your eye roll face.
I don't think.
Throw up everywhere. I don't care. I like a mess. I'm messy myself. Don't tell anybody. My room's a sty.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop. Stop it.
Caffeine. Oh, the pill to metabolize alcohol.
Yeah. That would be fantastic. But in a way, because you don't want it. It can't just be a pill that metabolizes alcohol, because then you'd feel really bad while that's happening.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about alcohol is I do think you'd feel a little withdrawal-y. I think that's what a hangover is.
Yeah, it is. So we'd have to invent something where it just fully negates.
Well, that would be the $1 invention.
I
Because there's all these you'll see them at gas stations like hangover cure.
Exactly.
And even those are selling and they don't do a damn thing.
No, they don't.
Allegedly.
Unless they're sponsored.
Yeah. Unless they're good. Yeah, is that the only downside?
For me, yeah.
Because there's a philosophical downside,
Okay, tell me.
which is it's a pacifier. So it allows the mundane to be exciting and novel.
Yeah.
And potentially you're not pursuing things that really are novel and growth inducing. I mean, that's like a philosophical.
I know, but growth inducing, that's also a construct. Like what's growth inducing for one person is not necessarily growth inducing for another. Like I do get so much joy out of just being cocooned with people I love and I feel safe around.
Right. And I'm in no position to say getting around and being social and chatting is not productive or good or
Yeah.
philosophically great.
Yeah.
But when I drank, my life was very repetitious. I got together with the same people We got drunk. We talked about the same thing. We planned. It was like this vaguely overly optimistic things we're going to do in the future that we're not really going to do. And trips we're planning and parties we're planning and all, And it was just this cycle. And it really could have just gone on forever. And even when I wasn't evaluating the many downsides that were clearly present, just philosophically, I felt like it was a rut.
Yeah.
This is all I needed to do is I needed to pick up a 12-pack on the way to Scotty's and my night was handled.
Yeah.
And that's nice. It's convenient, but also I'm not putting much effort into it. And it's just the same thing over and over again. And I'd like to get bored with a group of 5 people and figure out what we're going to fucking do. And maybe let's go drive go-karts next time and let's do this thing. And when I reflect on my life, I'm personally, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
The story of my life that involves having done a bunch of activities and tried new things and gone places is more satisfying to me than sitting in someone's living room or sitting in the same bar and having the same conversation 10,000 times over the course of a lifetime. From the story I'm telling about myself.
Yeah.
Like wreckage aside.
Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah. I just remember thinking as I approached 30, like, well, we've done this. We've done this for a decade. We've gone out and gotten drunk. And is that? Is that what I'm going to now repeat for the next 5 decades?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people. And I kind of want more than that.
Yeah. But let me ask you this. Let's say every day after work, I go and I hang out with people, same people, let's say. Same people every day. And we have drinks and we chit chat.
Yeah.
And then I go home.
Yeah.
And I mean really like philosophically, what's the difference between we finish work, you go into your house with the same people, you go sauna like you do every day with the same person.
Yeah.
And that period of time takes up the equivalent amount of time that I'm doing. Like we're all doing the same thing over and over again.
But you are illuminating the challenge of marriage, which is it is so easy for it to be just that. And you have to kind of actively, like, yes, right now we're sauna, but if you rewind 1.5 years ago before that, it was another thing. And before that, it was another thing because you do tire of repetition if booze isn't involved. Like even if we're on vacation with the Richardsons, we can play spades and hang and chat for 4 nights in a row. But we're going to have to do something else. We're going to have to go find a sauna, and then we're going to have to go on a sightseeing thing. We're going to have to blah, blah. If we just drank, we would be able to just get to our hotel. We'd go out for drinks in the evening, and then we'd have dinner, and that would be it. But we get bored after a few days of just playing spades or just doing this. And this family gets bored. It's like, well, let's go to Bob's Big Boy and look at old car night before we have dinner. We're not going to eat at Cafe 101 every single night. It does get boring without alcohol in the mix. And we do have to change a lot. And we've had a bazillion different little patterns and hobbies. But I was in one that was 10 years long when I drank with very little difference.
Yeah.
The bars would change.
Right. There were years where every night the 3 of us or the 4 of us would hang out and play the same game or watch the TV show would change, but we would watch movies
and
or TV
TV's
shows.
Booze for sure. Like TV is booze. I love it. I use it just like booze. I know how I'm going to feel when I watch it if it's good, and it's going to be 2 hours. It handles that 2 hours after bed, the girl's bedtime before mine. And even that, I'll go like, okay, we've been watching TV for 13 days straight. It's time to mix it up. But I never was like, we need to mix it up when I drank.
Right.
As long as I had a 12-pack, like I didn't really, I was fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Well, let's do some fackies. There's not too many. Oh, I really loved his idea of coffee and clips. I thought that was such a cute game.
Can you guess what I
wanted to ask? Okay,
feel like
Raising
you could
Arizona.
guess. That's a great guess. It wasn't Raising Arizona.
Okay. It was Heat.
Really, not much closer.
Okay.
Same director.
It was.
You probably have just forgotten the name of my favorite movie of all time that I watched, again, back to being drunk, that I watched every night I was drunk.
Not Roadhouse.
Thief.
That's right.
Michael Mann's Thief.
Okay.
So I brought Thief and I showed him the opening sequences, which is my favorite.
Okay.
Him cracking into a safe and committing a robbery. And it's so cool and stylized.
What did you say why it was important to you?
I can't remember, even when as he was describing how it worked, I do remember I had to like talk about it for a couple minutes, but I can't remember what my take was. I don't know if I admitted like I used to watch this movie addictively. I think I talked about that was the first time, and it created a whole genre. Prior to Thief and Miami Vice, there weren't these elongated montages done to really cool music. They were almost the precursor of music videos, where like the music was at the front and center of this sequence. The sequence was designed around the music.
Yeah.
And it was very surreal. It like gave birth to this really cool, surreal feeling that was even like movies were already a dream. And then this was even a dream beyond that. It was like a surreal, you know, I think people can relate to that, wishing there was theme music when they walked around. Like when you're walking down the street and you're feeling it and you want a certain song to be playing.
Yeah.
It was that feeling. And it was the first time I ever saw it. And I was like, oh, this is so cool and surreal. And I want to live in this montage. I wish life was this montage.
Yeah, I get that. That's cool.
What would you have played? Episode of Friends?
Yes. No.
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's not my fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
Yeah. That would have been.
In that exact
Good Will
scene.
Hunting. That scene, yeah. Or
Flag on the play.
Or the scene between Ben and Matt. Ben is telling Matt, like, don't squander this, and all I want is to show up to your apartment one day and you not be there.
Yes.
That's a
sweet.
great scene.
Very sweet.
Oof. Yeah.
Self-sacrifice. Gift from the Magi. We're not gossipy. We try to really not be gossipy.
Yeah.
But it would also seem crazy to not check in with how you feel about Matt, or rather Ben getting divorced.
I feel really sad for them.
No excitement that he's available?
No.
Okay. You really love him. It's like the speech in the movie. You're like, as much as I want to come here and,
As much as I wanna
pick you up for dinner, I want to come here and have you tell me, you must leave. I'm married.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. No, I just feel like it must suck so much to have all eyes on you over and over again while you're going through your shit.
All I have thought is like, I largely think paparazzi have gone away. And when I see things pop up, by the way, it just finds you this information in clips. And if like I'm on Instagram, it's like I'm seeing video of Ben walking from his car somewhere.
Yeah.
Constantly, right? And I'm just like, when I see that selfishly, I'm like, I am so fucking glad I don't get filmed everywhere I go.
Yeah.
I would, oh my God. But fuck, that's still a thing where everywhere he drives, presumably there's 6 or 7 cars following him and he's got to act kind of normal.
And then, but then
Like the
he
clip I
doesn't, and then people are like,
It's impossible
he's an
to act
asshole,
normal.
or he has a resting bitch face, whatever. It's like, duh.
Yeah, because there's 7 men who you have no control, you have no recourse, nothing. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Except for just deal with these 6 guys shouting shit at you.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know.
very triggering. For me.
Yeah. And I don't know him as
Right.
much. I hate to admit that, but I don't know him.
I mean, you know his soul.
I do.
In his
I
spirit.
know his heart.
Yeah.
But I
You
don't
know the real him.
Yes, but I have a sense he's sort of like you, and I imagine it's probably extra hard for him to let some of this go.
Yeah.
Like being
I
followed and-
bet he's battling not to fight these guys
Yes.
with every bit of willpower he has.
Yeah.
And then also then trying to tell your face not to telegraph that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in general, I just think it's sad if a relationship doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned P, the drug P. Uh-oh.
I would love if a riding lawnmower just crashed through the garage door right now and drove into frame and then did a 360.
Oh,
and then
God. Yeah. Sound could be better in here.
Oh,
Okay.
well, that's nice.
You talked about P, the drug.
Oh, yes.
It is meth.
Yes.
I confirmed that.
Okay, great. You looked it up. Where was it at? What website tells you the Kiwi name for
Well, if
meth?
you type in,
I knew it was math for sure.
Yeah, if you type in New Zealand street drug P, methamphetamine comes up.
And did you just put the letter
immediately.
P or PEE or PEA?
I just did letter P.
Nice.
And it is that according to this. Speed, pure, P,
Oh, pure.
burn, gooey, crank. And he was saying crank. Seth was. Squire
Yeah, that was the most popular name for meth in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, okay.
In California, it's called. By the way, I think I've said this before. That drug there was no such thing as that drug in Michigan.
Meth?
Meth. We did not have meth.
Really?
No, when I left in 95.
Huh.
I left in 94, got here in 95. As soon as I got here, everyone did meth.
Whoa.
It's always been huge on the West Coast.
Weird.
Yes. And it wasn't a thing in Michigan. When I brought it back a couple different times to Michigan, and people were like, what is it? I've heard of this. I'm like, yeah, they have this stuff. It's kind of like Coke, but way cheaper and way worse.
Oh my God. It's like fashion, how it starts on the coast and then makes
Yes.
its way.
Yeah. Something to do with the biker gangs and the proximity to Mexico, whatever. It was just huge on the West Coast.
Okay. Gooey, crank, meth, crystal, ice, and yaba.
In
Or
Hawaii,
yaba?
it's ice. So I've bought in this locally in enough places that I've had to use. I had to be respectful of the local culture
Sure,
and ask
the
if anyone knew where to
lingo.
get ice. If I would have been in Hawaii and asked for pee, they would have been like, "What the fuck is this? This guy's a narc."
Oh God.
You got to make sure no one thinks you're a narc.
Okay. Tom Arnold's book title is.
How I lost 7 pounds in 8 years.
It is How I Lost 5 Pounds in 6 Years.
Still the best title.
That's a great
ever.
title. We talked about Five Nights at Freddy's, which was the movie that Matt was in that was huge.
Oh yeah, I was ashamed I didn't know what that was.
I had heard of it from the youth.
Okay.
The video game was released in 2014.
Okay, so it's a movie based on a video game, but
Yeah.
he plays Voldemort.
What?
Yeah,
Wait. What? No. Really?
yeah. This is the one that he's just filmed the sequel to. Up in Toronto.
I don't
We're
know.
talking about the same movie.
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. Hold on.
Yeah, he's in a movie that just did like $300 million.
Yeah,
and now they're
that's
doing.
this.
Yeah, he plays Voldemort.
Wait.
You better look up cast and see if it
I
says
am.
Voldy
I
on
am.
there. Are you allowed to say it?
Yeah, we say things here. We don't keep things quiet.
And Harry says Voldemort.
We don't believe in not saying. Well, we do believe in not saying words that are offensive, but we
Unless they're towards white people. Again, guinea tea. I have my guinea tea here ready to work out in.
Okay. Matthew Lillard, Five Nights at Freddy's. Well, no, he plays William Afton.
So he plays two characters, it looks like.
Tough acting to acting.
It says American actor and film director who portrays William Afton in the Five Nights at Freddy's film. I mean, it seems like.
Do you think
Voldemort-
maybe he was telling me he plays like a Voldemort character?
Probably.
Okay, because I did think, what is the intellectual properties?
Yeah, that would be insane.
Yeah.
I just think he's the villain.
Also, Steve Raglan.
Okay. He also plays Steve Raglan, aka Voldemort. Okay.
No, do you remember pop quiz? Do you know Voldemort's real name? Do you remember?
Harry Raglan. What was that?
Tom Riddle.
Oh, I do know that. Yeah. And he's is he Terrence's dad?
No.
Uncle?
He's
No relation.
Voldemort. Well,
Right.
there's like they're connected, you know, but they're not. No,
His mom's brother or something?
no, they're just connected.
Okay.
Spiritually, but his dad is James and his mom is Lily. You need to reread. Okay. Now,
For whatever reason, my retention of that material is low. I have gone through the
know.
books
it is interesting because you generally have a high retention.
for nonfiction.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think my mind's like, this is fake. I'm not going to use the hard drive space for something that's fake.
Wow.
Yeah. I
Fake
think.
is all relative. Everything's fake.
Okay. Oh, wait. Say that again.
Fake is all relative. Everything's fake.
That was my setup for an eye roll.
Yeah, that wasn't very good.
My first time.
It wasn't very good.
I think that might have been my first time.
Can you do it again?
Yeah.
That was better.
It's quicker.
Yeah.
I milked the first one, didn't I?
Well, also,
I was like, I went around the moon.
you didn't even, no, you went up and then you just moved your head. The
That's how you
eye
get- you got this
itself has to move. No, it's like this. It's like,
Take 3. Tell me that everything's fake. Ooh. Oh, that was nice.
yeah. See, the eye itself moves, not your head.
And you did like 270. Oh. All right. Now say it last time. Third take.
Okay.
Everything's fake.
I mean, really, everything's fake. Okay.
That's pretty powerful.
That's really,
You should try to work that into your repertoire, your arsenal of
just
nonverbal
throw my
insults.
neck out. Okay. Is the Burt Reynolds going over the railing / wood pile stunt in the movie? I don't know because I didn't rewatch it.
Right.
And I didn't
It was
know to
big
look
enough
for
of
it.
you to watch it the first time.
I was excited to watch it.
Yeah, okay.
So the
How
people
embarrassed
can
were
tell
you
us.
For me, 0 to 10? Please be honest.
On
I can
watching
handle
it?
it. Yeah.
I wasn't embarrassed for you at all.
You weren't.
No, and
Okay.
that's sort of what I was telling you when I was expecting
To be very embarrassed.
not to be embarrassed, but to feel like it's going to be really different than what I'm used to.
Yeah, then Parenthood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, that's why I was sort of surprised
Okay.
when you were very much the same. Except, look, I will
Here we go. Here we
I
go.
will give you that it's you at a 10.
Forced.
A little more forced, not as much as I think you saw.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think most people would think that,
Okay.
but I do know like your sweet spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it did feel a little.
It was redlining, as we'd say in racing.
Oh, what's that?
Well, on your tachometer, you have like an ideal range that the motor is supposed to rotate in the engine.
Uh-huh.
And after a certain point, it starts rotating. It's not making more power, and now it's getting in jeopardy of exploding.
I see.
So I was definitely redlined.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but it was still funny. Like it wasn't like, oh, that's not funny.
Well, except for the Indian
You're not gonna
accent.
like this because I did take a shower in the middle and I was sort of in and out.
Oh, God.
So I think maybe I
You
missed.
took a shower in the middle.
Well,
of
I
the
had to
movie.
shower. We were recording. We were recording, and it was after
How
my
long was
birthday.
your shower? Like 45, 50 minutes?
I did a hair
90
mask.
minutes?
No. I don't think I missed a lot, but I was a little in and out.
Okay, so you missed that part.
I missed it, and I think that was my dad.
That was the
he
Sam.
gave us that.
The only problem is that part does happen in one of the funner parts of the movie, which is we're running from bad guys.
Right.
This marijuana field has caught on fire. So we're running as fast as we can and we're inhaling tons of weed. And we're running. And then all of a sudden we're laughing. And
Yeah,
that's
that
a
is
very
funny.
funny idea.
That is a very funny idea.
Yeah.
I'll watch it again.
No, that was enough.
I'll forward
Yeah.
to that scene, and I'll make sure
Well,
to watch
but don't
that one.
watch the beginning of the scene.
I'm gonna watch it. But that's it.
All right. Well, that was a very heartwarming episode for me.
Yeah, that was lovely.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did that. And when I was editing it, I was like, oh, this is like commentary.
DVD commentary.
DVD commentary, which I used to love so much.
And I don't remember if we did that. I have a DVD copy, obviously, of the movie. I wonder if there is a commentary. I know that Kutcher and I did a commentary on like 8 hours of Punk'd or whatever, 8 episodes. Not a smart idea.
Because you were on drugs.
No, it wasn't. It's
Oh.
just, you're just riffing for hours. You're saying
You
a lot
love
of
that.
stuff and no one's protecting you.
Oh.
And you're trying to make each other laugh and then you're forgetting your, I mean, again,
And it
there's
was
no
a different
podcast back
time
then.
also.
It was
Yeah.
a totally different time. Like I've not gone back to listen to that, nor would I ever. But I can't imagine, that aged well.
I see. Okay, let's
Yeah,
not.
We're probably talking like two horny 20-year-olds at times.
Well, and which was your
in fact,
identity
we
at
were-
the time.
He and I were quite horny.
Yeah.
We shared that in common.
Sure.
Without
I think
him.
maybe don't go back,
No, totally.
guys.
Yeah.
All of us,
That's a
we don't
lesson.
need
Just
to
keep
do
going
that.
forward.
Yeah, that's right. Let's just keep it.
Time to go
keep
back, it
moving.
goes forward. Don't run from the pain, run toward it. You love, there it is.
I
Jay-Z
did it
lyric,
for you.
and it was
I
Natch.
did it for you.
All right. I love you.
Love you.